just what you built over the last couple of years with the runs that you've had.
Oh, I believe this. I believe this is a hockey market. I see the kids playing hockey. I see the interest in the game. It probably started, it was noticeable for me 2 seasons ago that the oohs and the ahs, you're in Toronto and a guy makes a hell of a play or sends someone home with a cross-ice pass and the ooh, right? Because you have generations of hockey understanding. You started to hear the right timing of the oohs and ahs here. And as it's evolved, the presence in the community, it's been outstanding. It's guys are getting recognized more and more. Fans are more into the hockey. The questions go from, you're that's the GM of the Panthers. Oh, I went to a game. That's lots of fun. To what are you going to do about the D? Mm-hmm. So the fans now, that it's just the way the fans interact, and I think that our parade is. If you had to look at an essay to define the relationship between our fans and our community and the players, we had a couple 100,000 people stand in a torrential downpour for hours.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule. The Florida Panthers are your 2024 Stanley Cup champions, and that means the NHL offseason is officially underway. The Panthers stymied a monumental comeback from the Edmonton Oilers, who got all the way to Game 7 after falling behind in the series 3-0. Florida held on in the deciding game, beating Edmonton 2-1 and winning their first and only championship in the organization's 30-year history. If they had pulled it off, the Oilers would have joined the 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs as the only team to erase a 3-0 deficit in the final round of the playoffs and hoist the Stanley Cup. Florida's Alexander Barkov becomes the first Finnish captain to win the Stanley Cup. The Selke Award winner for top defensive forward blanketed McDavid in the finals and recorded 22 points in 24 postseason games. In his second season with Florida, head coach Paul Maurice won the Cup for the first time in his career, which began in 1995. Panthers netminder Sergei Bobrovsky recorded all 16 postseason victories for Florida, sporting a .232 goals against average and a .906 save percentage, along with 2 shutouts. Despite not registering a point in the last 2 games of the final, Connor McDavid was awarded the Conn Smythe Trophy. He received 16 of 17th first-place votes to become the 6th player on a losing team to win it, and the first skater to do so since Reggie Leach with the Philadelphia Flyers in 1976. McDavid finished the playoffs with 8 goals, 34 assists for 42 points in 25 games. Only Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux had more than one postseason. The Oilers last made the final in 2006, where they lost to the Carolina Hurricanes, and their most recent championship was in 1990. They fell short in their quest this time for the franchise's 6th Stanley Cup. The postseason may be in the rearview mirror, but there's lots of important NHL dates on the horizon. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL offseason and hockey across the world, keep it locked on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91.
Hear it all on demand. Your favorite shows, your favorite games. Don't miss a second of your favorite SiriusXM programming on demand with the SiriusXM app. Download it now for free.
The Columbus Blue Jackets' Director of Hockey Operations, Rick Nash, was with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick for the morning skate on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91, to give his thoughts on the preseason, working with the organization, and the passing of the Gaudreau brothers.
Yeah, it seemed like when you were a young guy, they wanted to get a lot of looks at you, and you played a lot of the games, and you tried to make an impact, but you tried to, follow the system at the same time to show them that you were adaptable to the game of hockey. And then, as I got older, actually, I kind of like playing in the same amount of games just to get ready and get up to pace and get up to speed for the regular season. So, it's kind of funny to be on this side of it now and kind of juggle the guys and how many games they want to play and where they want to play, whether it's home and road. It's just interesting to see.
congratulations you've been working the front office for a while. I did see Basil McRae at the game last night. I know he's a pro scout, kind of a new defined role there. Talk about how this came about, and the perception seems it's a meteor role as far as personnel and everything else goes. So tell us all about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky enough to work under Jarmo Kekalainen for 4 years and got to learn a lot off him. And obviously with the GM switch and president switch with Don Waddell coming in, we've just been working together for the last couple of months. And, I don't think much is going to change for my day-to-day, but it's just, trying to be around Don as much as possible and learn off him and try to grow within the organization and at the same time try to put Columbus back in a spot to be a very good team.
Look, Rick, we obviously are all still reeling from the Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Gaudreau passings, and just mentioned late last hour that, it's a great gesture on behalf of John Tortorella and the Flyers to have Guy Gaudreau on the ice today at practice with the Philadelphia Flyers and such. And I just wonder from your standpoint, how is the team dealing with this? Sean Monahan, obviously, amongst many others that have been greatly affected by it. How have you guys been dealing with all this as best as you possibly can? And, further to that, just some thoughts from your vantage point as to how the Jackets are going to honor the Gaudreaus throughout the course of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a complete tragedy. I mean, it's been a tough time around the organization and in the offices, and obviously we can't even speak about how hard it's been for the family and everyone. So it's been a terrible time for everyone and in the hockey world too. So as we move forward, we'll obviously always remember Johnny and honor him and his brother and their family. And what we've told our players is everyone's going to grieve different. It's going to take a lot of time for some guys in a lot of different avenues. We can go down to try to help and always be there to be able to chat to anyone. So it's a tough situation, but we're all going to try to get through it together.
The PGA Tour comes to life on SiriusXM. It's your destination for everything on the tour. Hear live hole-by-hole coverage and expert analysis. PGA Tour Radio, SiriusXM 92.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule. The Florida Panthers are your 2024 Stanley Cup champions, and that means the NHL offseason is officially underway. The Panthers stymied a monumental comeback from the Edmonton Oilers, who got all the way to Game 7 after falling behind in the series 3-0. Florida held on in the deciding game, beating Edmonton 2-1 and winning their first and only championship in the organization's 30-year history. If they had pulled it off, the Oilers would have joined the 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs as the only team to erase a 3-0 deficit in the final round of the playoffs and hoist the Stanley Cup. Florida's Alexander Barkov becomes the first Finnish captain to win the Stanley Cup. The Selke Award winner for top defensive forward blanketed McDavid in the finals and recorded 22 points in 24 postseason games. In his second season with Florida, head coach Paul Maurice won the Cup for the first time in his career, which began in 1995. Panthers netminder Sergei Bobrovsky recorded all 16 postseason victories for Florida, sporting a .232 goals against average and a .906 save percentage, along with 2 shutouts. Despite not registering a point in the last 2 games of the final, Connor McDavid was awarded the Conn Smythe Trophy. He received 16 of 17th first-place votes to become the 6th player on a losing team to win it, and the first skater to do so since Reggie Leach with the Philadelphia Flyers in 1976. McDavid finished the playoffs with 8 goals, 34 assists for 42 points in 25 games. Only Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux had more than one postseason. The Oilers last made the final in 2006, where they lost to the Carolina Hurricanes, and their most recent championship was in 1990. They fell short in their quest this time for the franchise's 6th Stanley Cup. The postseason may be in the rearview mirror, but there's lots of important NHL dates on the horizon. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL offseason and hockey across the world, keep it locked on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91.
SiriusXM has soccer covered end to end. SiriusXM FC. Hear live play-by-play and talk shows hosted by legends of the game. It's Sirius XM FC on Channel 157.
Rick Nash, Director of Hockey Operations for the Columbus Blue Jackets, joined Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio to discuss the mindset for the team going into this upcoming season and looked back on the time he spent playing for the team.
Yeah, it's obviously going through camp and watching all these guys. You're obviously cautiously optimistic as you start every season. I think we obviously brought in Dean Evison as our coach this year, and I think we're going to want to be a hardworking team. I think we want to keep our Blue Jacket identity and get back to that where I remember playing for the Rangers and playing against the Jackets and just knowing you were always in for a hard night. So I think we expect Dean to get us back to that style of team. We got some really good young players. I've been doing development for the last couple of years, and we got some really good players in the pipeline that we hope can make an impact in the NHL over not only this year but in the next couple of years. So we'll have to see where it goes, but I think all 32 teams around the NHL are some are more optimistic than others, but there's some sort of optimism going into a fresh season.
When you look back, I mean, your second year, you the Rocket Richard Trophy winner, 41 goals on not a very good Columbus Blue Jacket team. Like, you're a guy that seemed to acclimate to the NHL world rather seamlessly. Well, why do you think that's the case?
I think it was honestly, it was probably my 2 years in London and the Hunters getting me prepared, and secondly, I think it was my parents. They were always there to help me, and with no agenda in mind other than making sure that I got to live my dream. And for me to move to Columbus, my parents still worked full time back in Brampton, and they would pop down Friday after work and leave Sunday night. Help me with cooking and making sure I had the bills paid and all that. So I owe a lot of it to my parents, and I feel like once you have everything figured out off the ice, that's when your game can take a step on the ice. And I never had to worry too much about off ice, just because I've always tried to surround myself, as my parents taught me, with good people.
What's it been like for you to see how the game has progressed and how it's transformed itself into such an offensive league the last number of years?
Oh, I know. I almost feel guilty taking that trophy at 41. I think my best year ever was 42. You know what? Those guys are so impressive. I mean, you see what Ovechkin has been doing since 04, 05, or 05, 06, whenever it was. I mean, there's just some generational players, and Ovechkin's obviously a generational goal scorer. But for me, to fully know how hard it is to score goals in the NHL, probably before it being it seemed like a little tougher just with the rules and whatnot, but I am so impressed by those guys that are almost putting up 70. The guys that put up 50 or 45 on a yearly basis. It's so impressive to me because I truly find it, I feel like it's one of the hardest things to do is score goals in the NHL.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91.
I'm Frank Track.
You're listening to NHL Play-by-Play on Sirius XM.
Welcome to Most Nights Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. It is Game 3 of the preseason for the Maple Leafs. The 0-2 Maple Leafs as they face the undefeated Montreal Canadiens. It's Ailish Forfar and Gord Stellick tonight. The Leafs will be playing the Canadiens for real on October 9th as the opening night, but this is the appetizer. And Gord, is it time to panic?
Oh, my goodness. That question is going to live in little exhibition infamy for a while. And the way Craig, some people know Craig Berube said that he wanted the New Jersey job first because a lot of it was that spotlight in Toronto. I mean, I think he can handle anything, but just a little bit leery of it. So, yeah. So there's no time to panic. There's no time to do anything. Okay. Buffalo's won some games. It's important. Columbus wins last night, was kind of a first game at home. Important for Utah to win, relatively speaking. If exhibition games mattered, your record, I would be like the Scotty Bowman of general managers. I would have been there for 40 years. Unfortunately, the regular season does start. Yeah, that's funny. Leafs lose 6-5 to the Sens. We did that game at Scotiabank Arena, and it was a terrible start. Remember, one shot. Apparently, they got two. I don't believe it. They end up going to overtime, losing. Then they lost again to the Sens, 2-1. So really only losing by one goal in both of those games. But they're playing the Canadiens tonight. The Canadiens have a lot of hype around some of their young studs, and we're going to see Lane Hudson tonight on the back end, who's the big defenseman that that everyone's really excited about. They're going to have no defenseman in the lineup older than 23. So the Habs are putting out more of their let's figure it out roster, some young guns. But the Leafs tonight, they've got a London Knights line, which I'm excited about. Cowan, Domi, Marner. What are your expectations for those three? Well, first of all, it's typical about stack up the home team and a weaker road team coming in. I like this. I think it's kind of a nice. We actually chatted with Rick Nash earlier in the week because he got promoted in Columbus, and he goes, I was the first guy in London when this all turned around, when I played in the old arena and all this happened and all these great London night players. So I like it. I like giving Easton Cowan a chance as well because, I mean, no one's really stood out for the Leafs in the first two games. And I believe guys like Easton Cowan will get regular season action before a definitive decision's made. But for these games to have a little bit of a sizzle like that, I think that's kind of neat. So Pacioretty, Robertson, Cowan, and McMahon all in the lineup, and they all kind of feel like they're fighting for one or two spots. And Pacioretty had a great debut with the Leafs, and of course, former Habs captain, so this will be an interesting one. Whenever a player plays their old team, I always bet them for a revenge goal. I don't think you can even bet on preseason goals, but Pacioretty tonight, obviously wearing the blue and white against his former team. He's also vying for an opportunity to really sink his teeth in the lineup. Feels like he's got it. But just seeing Robertson, Pacioretty, McMahon, and Cowan all in the lineup, it kind of feels like they're all looking at each other saying, hey, who's going to take the spot? Yeah. I mean, it's a little crowded. And actually, Max Pacioretty, you're right, Eilish did make an impression. That's the one guy but also Bobby McMahon shows that if you stick to it and play well enough, you will find a spot. He was the guy not anyone thought about last year. They were thinking more about Nick Robertson, others, just that. And sure enough, when his chance got to do it. That was a fun story, eh? It was really a neat story. It was a great story. But right now, it's a little crowded at the inn. And then when you get injuries, they all of a sudden it gets very uncrowded. But that's part of what they want this year. Competition. They've got numbers. And let's see how it all plays out in the exhibition games and early in the regular season. So no Austin Matthews tonight. Was dealing with a little bit of an injury, but seems like he's okay. He's fine. No need to panic, as Craig Berube would say. But he won't be in the lineup tonight. But it's Cowan, Domi, Marner, McMahon, Nylander, Robertson, Pacioretty, Tavares, Holmberg, Lorentz, Camp, and Reeves. So that's your forward lineup. And then on the back end, pretty much what you probably will see, Riley, Tanev, Ekman Larson, McKay, Benoit, Liljegren, and Stolarz will get the start, and it looks like Murray will back up. So, as I said, Leafs heavy favorites tonight. They've got the big boys in lineup. Just probably would feel good to get a win. It would. And particularly at home, it would. And you won't have to face the question, Craig Berube, after 3 losses. But and when you're a new coach, it's not the be all end all. I mean, the guys won a Stanley Cup, but like Lindy Ruff did in Buffalo, and that you do like to get that first W in an exhibition game. It's been a little bit too long. It has been. All right, so we're going to take a break. We'll send it over to Joe Bone and Jim Ralph. We'll have the first call of the first period next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
NFL fans, Christopher Russo here. On Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio, we give you NFL talk with a bite to it. First, it's our Monday morning quarterback, Adam Shine, 9 Eastern.
Let me make sure I'm clear, tough guy.
He looks beyond the wins and losses and identifies the trends you need to know. Every week on Mad Dog Unleashed, you're going to hear Super Bowl MVP Phil Simms and insiders Peter Schrager and Mike Lombardi preview the action. We're talking football all week long on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82, in the car, and the Sirius XM app.
Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
This is the NHL. These are pros. You don't want guys to put good power play units on, don't take penalties. You don't want good power play units to score goals when you've given up a whole bunch, kill them. You don't like it, do something about it. If you want to reward your guys who had a good game with a chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team. Don't worry about mine.
Cheers, hockey fans. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs hosting their heated rivals, the Montreal Canadiens, the Habs. Ooh, it's just such a great rivalry between Toronto and Montreal. Nothing better. It is the preseason, but can you imagine what it's going to be like on opening night? Because it's already crazy in the preseason. Thanks for being here. Please hit that like button down below. Helps bring more Leafs fans and hockey fans here into the chat. Let's shoot to get that number up as high as possible. Please, if you're listening with us, take a second to exit out of that chat and hit that thumbs up. Now let's get back to the hockey. Let's see what our Leafs can do tonight at home in front of their faithful. We'll see you guys in the chat. Go, Leafs, go! Go, Leafs, go! Go, Leafs, go!
Round behind us, the battles only get more intense.
Follow your favorite team.
The Stanley Cup playoffs continue.
NHL Network Radio,
Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Robertson here with an important announcement. You can listen to your favourite Sirius XM FC shows on the all-new Sirius XM app, now available for all subscribers.
Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Leafs Radio Network.
Maple Leafs' third exhibition game, the first against the Montreal Canadiens, and the starting netminders are brought to you by Molson. Molson, everyone in. It is Anthony Stolarz getting the start for the Maple Leafs. He was 16-7-2 last year with Florida, a 2.03 goals against average. And it is Jacob Dobesh, I believe. He is from Czechoslovakia, and he is played 51 games last year with Laval, had a 24-18-6 record. And so the Leafs will defend the goal to the right and the Canadiens to the left. And Dobesh is down to our left.
Don't keep looking at me.
I'm looking for help.
That sounds good.
It did. Well, we had to do our research. Exactly. Here's Pontus Holmberg working into the corner. Drags it around back of the net, stops it up, set it back for the former Canadian Max Pacioretty. He reverses the puck to the right wing side, kept in at the blue line by Tanev, and now a hit in on the boards there by Pacioretty as the puck comes to the blue line and not out. Pacioretty's going to keep it in and launch it wide of the goal into the far corner. Leafs getting a change in early. Nylander out at center ice, and McMahon intercepts a pass, and as he tried to center it, it went off a leg and caroms to center ice. Nylander with McMahon and Robertson as it's brought in over the line by Nylander. Fed into the corner for Bobby McMahon. McMahon against the boards, comes back towards the blue line, banks it to the point. Kept in by Ekman Larsson around back of the net. Robertson reverses the puck back of the goal into the far corner. Back to the blue line it comes. Ripped around the boards and finding again now is Robertson. Had it knocked away from him. Canadians try to break it out, and they do. Brought to center ice by Kapanen. And on the right side for Joel Armia. And the veteran sent it wide of the net, and the Leafs come away with the loose puck. Up on the wing for McMahon. He'll backhand it in through center ice and down into Montreal territory to allow a change of players.
Now, just a small note, but Nick Robertson, there's a 3-on-2 Montreal coming back into the Leafs zone. Nick Robertson got on his horse and came back and turned it into a 3-on-3. So as much as we can talk about goal scoring and offense, that's one of the things he's going to be judged on quite a bit is the defensive play.
I would suggest he will be judged on that a lot more than any offense, because they know what he can do offensively, right? And have you bought in to be a 200-foot player? Puck back into the Montreal zone. Canadians come away with it, and they'll poke it out into the center ice area and knock it down into the Leaf end as it rolls down there, and Kidney couldn't get to it, and the Leafs get it back off a stick down into Montreal territory. Marner Going in after it along the boards, trying to get to it now is Steven Lorenz, and it is brought out by Montreal and played down into the corner. Lorenz out with David Camp and Ryan Reeves as an errant pass is going the length of the ice and play whistle dead. So it is Cowan with Domi and Marner, an all-London night graduation group. Pacioretty with Tavares and Holmberg, Lorenz with Camp and Reeves, McMahon with Nylander and Robertson. So Robertson and Cowan are certainly getting every opportunity to display their skills and what the coaches are looking for, right?
Now, what would you call the London Night line? Well, there's got to be a great line for that, isn't there? A name for it? Nickname?
I'll leave that to you. Here's Camp in over the line. Doesn't press the attack. Kind of stopped up at the blue line. Sent it in around back of the net. I mean, the Black Knights of the Hudson is the football team for the Army Cadets, but it can't be that, can it?
Well, I guess not.
I'm trying to work here.
The Good Knights?
The Good Knights.
The Good Knights.
Good night, yeah. Sleepy by, good night. Deflection of Dobesh goes into the corner. Back to the point. It comes to the Leafs on the left wing side. Ekman Larsson sends it towards the net. Doesn't make it through. Canadians getting it up on the wing. And I'm sure the coaching staff, as we get an icing charge against Montreal, is looking for a better start than what the Leafs had on home ice in the first period against Ottawa.
2 shots on goal. And the Leafs trailed into the third period. Came back, briefly took the lead before giving that up and losing in overtime.
Simon Benoit and Timothy Liljegren are the defensemen, as the Nylander line is out on the ice, kept in momentarily by Liljegren. Canadians punch it out at center. Adroitly kicked ahead from his foot to his stick. Benoit getting it down into the Montreal end. A little bit of footy going on there. Turnover in the offensive zone. Tripped up there was Nylander, but no call. And now it's brought out into the center ice area and down into the Leaf end. Stoller's trying to play it around back of the net. And Nylander just now getting back into the defensive zone after being tripped up.
I think he had a rather lengthy discussion with the referee that was about 6 feet away looking at him.
A pass up the middle for McMahon. Goes off a stick and down into Montreal territory. They quickly counter and bring it back in over the line. Here's Newhook trying to get it back to the point. Got it returned and a shot. And that was stopped by Stollers. The bouncing puck is knocked high in the air. And it is cleared out into the center ice area. And now the goaltender gets run into by Max Domi, and there's going to be a penalty here. So,
boy, and it was the Montreal defenseman I thought made contact with the goaltender. They're going to say that it might have been a cross-check.
Armia brings it in over the line for Kapanen. A pass on the wing. That rang off the goalpost with a shot. Leafs did not touch the puck, apparently. Canadians maintain possession. Back to the point. It comes to the near side. Here's Hudson walking into the slot, still with it. Had to go off a skate, got across the line, got another shot that was knocked away by Stollers. The puck finally being touched here by Chris Tanev, who took a bit of a high stick himself and has gone back to the bench, but apparently is all right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a cross-check. And was it Max Domi?
Number 11, 2-minute minor, cross-checking.
Yeah, so they let the trip go, which was rather obvious in front of the official. And then back the other end, Max Domi gives the Montreal defenseman a little cross-check in the back. He ends up taking out his own goaltender on the play. But much like the game against the Ottawa Senators here, the first game of the preseason back on Sunday, Leafs not off to a great start and find themselves in the penalty box early.
TJ Luxmore and Kendrick Nicholson are the referees. Mark Shuchuk and Jonathan Deschamps are the linesmen for this tilt. Already in hot water.
Yes.
Fans. Brought in over the line by the Canadians. Newhook gets it back on the right wing side, saucers it back to the blue line, fed off on the wing by Hudson, pass in front of the net, intercepted, and brought out at center ice and coolly played out and down the ice by Steven Lorenz. Canadiens back in their own zone. Leafs have not given up a power play goal in the first two exhibition games. And across the line, it's fed around the boards. They have given up a shorthanded goal. Now a loose puck is pushed out at center ice, and Marner's racing after it. Got a man with him as he looks to play in front of the goal. He does. A shot whistles off the post by Tanev. Tanev jumped into the rush along with Pontus Holmberg, and now Marner's got it again. And a pass in. Wrap around. Oh, and a good save made there by the Canadiens netminder. As Pontus Holmberg swept around back of the net, but Mitch Marner getting this round of applause because of the magician's wand that he has in his hands, working that stick and making some great offensive maneuvers. Played around the boards in the Toronto zone with 27 seconds left in the power play. Canadiens just do keep it in, but it's grabbed by Toronto and shot out and down the ice.
Well, certainly a lot of players have their warts, Joe, when it comes to the postseason. But if you're thinking of moving Mitch Marner, if you're for it, you are not getting that caliber back.
Not even remotely close.
If you want to get 2 or 3 pickup trucks that you think might help you win, that's understandable. But you ain't getting the Rolls Royce back that you're trading away.
Even better like that. Yeah, the Rolls Royce.
I was just thinking of all the cars I couldn't afford.
Pickup trucks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Penalty is over. Leafs get it back at their own blue line. Here's a pass for Pacioretty. Tries to split the defense, but it rolled away from him, and it's around back of the net. I'm with you on that, buddy. I'm with you on that. Bank pass ahead at center, goes into the Toronto zone. McCabe gets there to chop it around the boards, and Pacioretty on the right wing with a backhand pass well out of the reach of the Leaf intended receiver, but Lorenz catches up to it, gets it into the corner. Pacioretty trying to get it back to the blue line. Lorenz gets it free, but the puck goes into the far boards, and the Canadiens have it under control, and they'll launch it to center. Onto the stick of Luke Tuck. Tuck gets in with a body check taken there by Tanev. Play along the boards. Good play by Reeves to free it up. And Lorenz will skate it to center and then play it into the zone before heading to the bench. 11 minutes, 13 seconds to go. Here is Jackeye and Reeves shoving with one another. Was it the first regular season game, or was it the preseason?
No, first regular season game.
And it was the challenge from behind that Reeves thought. That was never really decided again, was it? Shot goes blocker save made there by Stollers. Far side sent around back of the net to the near corner. Barron for Montreal trying to keep it in. Stolen back by Bobby McMahon. One-handed out at center ice.
And a penalty.
Whistle and holding.
The Leafs.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah,
well, both doors are opening, so no one knows what's going on. But it's a Canadian player going to the penalty box as we go to commercial break. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Jaden Daniels is incredibly talented. I like what I'm seeing there in Washington.
When it happens in the NFL, we're reacting to it on Sirius XM NFL Radio.
Derrick Henry, they call him the king for a reason. This cat coming in, he ain't fooling around.
Get closer to the game with interviews with players, coaches, and executives.
Geno Smith, quarterback, Seattle Seahawks.
I always focus on just getting better. Everything has to improve.
From the field to the front office, nobody covers the game like Sirius XM NFL Radio. Channel 88.
Hey Insiders, special message coming your way. We just got off the phone with our rep at Sick Kids, and they're going to be extending the Create 100K campaign. So we are going to join that up for opening night for Leafs hockey. We're going to throw a Bills game in there as well, and we're going to do a little rally for Sick Kids Hospital, and we're going to make some dreams come true in that Create 100K campaign. We'll put some links out here. I'm going to get stuff set up in the next few days. I can't wait to get started, but I just wanted to let you guys know to be on the lookout for that. TSI and Sick Kids. doing big things together. Let's make it happen. Cheers, everybody.
Now, with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots and scores!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM
Network.
Did you recognize that tall guy? Looks like he's from Sweden. He came into the booth.
It's so good.
He asked for a picture with you and I, but I don't know who he was.
It's so good to see him in it again.
Yep, Matt Sundin in town.
I did ask if we made his book, what chapter we were in.
Maybe
he said he forgot about us.
Well, then it's not going to be a bestseller.
No.
Because we won't buy it. Leafs on the power play, and a shot by Nylander swallowed up by Dobesh, and a face-off coming in the Montreal zone. Dobesh came over and played at Ohio State as a fifth-round pick of the Canadiens, 136th overall in the 2020 draft. Connor Hughes is backing him up here this evening. Matt Murray on the bench for Toronto. Pass to the near side to Nylander. Leafs have scored once on the power play. That was in game one. And a pass back to Morgan Rielly was out of his reach. He'll be chased hard by Oliver Kapanen, but is able to get back. Marner circles in his own zone and gives to Rielly, who drops it back for Marner. It will be interesting. A shoot-in attempt by Marner hit Willie Nylander right in the back of the leg. Marner slapped the puck from inside his own zone, hoping that Nylander was going to get in behind the defense. A different break-in attempt for sure. Nylander's not really fully on board with it at this point.
Now, I was wondering if he would see Easton Cowan on the number one power play unit, but essentially with Austin Matthews not in the lineup tonight, Max Pacioretty is the one that is picking the extra power play minutes up.
Nylander to the far side to Rielly. Rielly looks for Marner, still has it at the blue line, will find Marner. Marner at the top of the circle with a pass, and they score! Tavares stationed off the doorstep, and the Leafs open the scoring with a power play goal, orchestrated by Mitch Marner.
And like we said earlier, I mean, there's few players in the league that have that foresight. He's got the puck at the right point. Looks up, waits, starts to sift in a little bit. John Tavares gives him the target on the far post, and Mitch Marner simply snaps it towards the stick of the former Leaf captain Tavares, who just chips it in, blocker side, short side to give the Leafs the 1-0 lead.
It takes a little getting used to.
Oh, yes.
That was an honest mistake.
I thought I caught that, though.
You
pretty
did, though.
good.
No, you did. Yeah. Hey, I might be the only one that noticed.
It's like I've been right 6 times in the last 28 years, and I think you're the only one that noticed.
When was that?
Well, I think the last time Sundin was actually the captain.
Canadians back in the center ice area. Gignac works back into the zone. Reinbacher got it ahead, but it's going to be an icing call. David Reinbacher was the 5th overall pick in the 23 draft. He's from Austria, and they're very high on him, but realizing that he needs at least another year of seasoning anyway.
And you're going to do 11 games with Laval last season. Actually had 5 points in the 11 games.
Face off to the right in the Montreal zone. 1-0 Toronto. Draw one by the Leafs. Ekman-Larsson with a shot that went wide of the goal. Kept alive by McCabe. He backhands into the corner. Back to Marner. His quick shot stop. Big rebound in front. Good save made again by Dobesh, and it is cleared out into the center ice area.
Leafs now shooting the Canadiens 7-1. Well, despite kind of a slow start and then taking the first penalty of the game, the Leafs have rebounded quite nicely.
Domi in the corner. Cowan gets it back to the blue line. Near side, Ekman-Larsson. Touch pass to Marner. Marner a little dipsy-doodle off the skates. Goes cross ice to the far side to Domi. Back to the blue line to Marner again. Marner in along the boards for Cowan. Cowan couldn't get to it. Pokes it along, trying to find Domi, but it's grabbed off by the Canadiens and played out at center ice and down into the Leaf end. Around the boards, it'll be ripped to the near side, tipped ahead. Domi unable to control the puck, carries into the center ice area though, and is able to regain it and send it in deep. 8:09 left to play here in the first period. 1-0 Toronto. Back come the Leafs, led by Robertson. Nick Robertson trying to get along the boards. Fed it in now to Nylander. Nylander works to the right wing side. Tried to saucer it back to the blue line, but it was picked off. And the Canadiens regroup and carry back at center and then turn all the way back to their own zone. Lane Hudson is there, and a collision at the blue line. And William Nylander is slow to get up.
Yeah, he was kind of pushed from behind by his own player, lost his balance. And it looked like his head slid right into the knee of a Montreal player right at the Leaf blue line.
All right, he has gone straight to the Leaf dressing room, but was on his own power. Yeah, kind of collided as he slid in. All right, so 7:44 left first period, 1-0 Toronto. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Maple Leafs Radio Network.
As fall approaches and birds head south, a different kind of bird emerges, the Subaru. While migratory flocks seek warmth, Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive keeps drivers soaring through the wild. During the migrating season, Subaru's hunger for adventure grows exponentially, driving the intrigued radio listeners to fall for Subaru at their local Subaru dealerships, experiencing an adventure of their.
What's up, hockey fans? Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for this Leafs against the Habs matchup. It's the preseason, but it doesn't matter. When Montreal and Toronto get together, it's always awesome. Please hit that subscribe button if you are new. Thank you for joining us. Please become an insider and help us reach 40,000 subscribers by opening night. We are so close. We're almost there. I can smell it. Thank you, guys. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on that bell so you don't miss it when we go live for every single Toronto Maple Leafs game and a heck of a lot of other sports action here on TSI. Cheers, everybody. Back to the chat. We'll see you guys in there. Let's have some fun. Go Leafs, go.
From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
7:44 left in the first period. William Nylander leaving the game after collision.
Nick Robertson was behind him, and players try to propel their teammates, give them a little extra juice, and it didn't look like Nylander was expecting it. Lost his balance and slid right into the Montreal player.
Played down into the Montreal zone. Jack Eye back there to play it behind the net. And the Canadiens get it back up on the wing with Engstrom getting it to center and down in on the Toronto line. Played around back of the net by the Leafs. Tanev gets it up on the wing. Rink-wide pass, springs the defense, and here's Camp getting it up on the right side for Robertson. Robertson turns back, gets it back to the point. Tanev with a pass in, looking for the redirect, and it was deflected wide of the net. Camp against the boards, takes his man down, and I think there's going to be a penalty. Yes, there will be to the Leaf forward. Canadiens with an extra man on the ice. Brought to center, played back into the Canadian zone. They'll organize now as they drop it off to Joel Armia. He works to the line and in. Made a nice move to get around one. And then Pacioretty touches the puck to bring about the second power play opportunity for the Canadiens.
It's going to be a holding call.
Penalty number 64.
And David Kampf is going to go, so not only do they lose a player, but number one center on the penalty kill. Boy, this is, well, preseason for everyone, right? Bit of a weak call, I think. The Montreal player, I don't know whether he embellished it or just lost an edge, but was able to draw the penalty because of it. Canadiens still was one shot on goal, 6:36 to go here in a 1-0 lead for the Leafs in the first period.
Draw one by the Canadiens, back to the point. Engstrom with a long shot that deflected wide into the near corner. The scrum ensues. McCabe unable to reach it. Engstrom keeps it in at the blue line. A pass goes off to the left wing boards, and Adam Engstrom gets there again, but it is stolen back by the Leafs, and Christopher Tanev has sent it out and down the ice. Tanev and McCabe, who are ticketed to be the shutdown pair that the Maple Leafs will utilize. Both of them rather adroit at penalty killing. Played by Stollers around the boards to the line, but kept in by the Canadiens for a moment, and then quickly sent by Simon Benoit to center ice. Leafs steal it back against the boards, trying to pin it there is Lorentz, and now he'll scoop it along the wall, get it down into Montreal territory with 1:02 to go in the power play. Toronto won, the Canadiens no score. Two teams meet again in Montreal and open the season in a couple of weeks' time. Again at the Bell Center. Leafs start with a 2-game road trip that has them in New Jersey as well, against their former coach and a team that a lot of people are suggesting are going to be one of the powerhouses because of the addition of a pretty good goaltender from Calgary.
Plus, you get Dougie Hamilton back, should be healthy from the start of the year. That was a big loss for them last year.
Played by the Canadiens in across the line. Rink-wide pass, and a pass in that goes off a skate. Grabbed off by Armia on the far half boards. Armia cycles it back along the boards. It'll come to the blue line. Over on the near side, back into the slot area, trying to find Kapanen. That didn't work. A pass to the near wing and a shot in on a deflection that just went wide of that far post. Not sure whether Stollers would have got there in time, but Holmberg now gets an outlet pass. The penalty is expired. 3 Leafs across the line, and Holmberg completely fanned on an attempted wrist shot. Canadiens with it back in their own zone, but they did not get a shot on goal in that power play. Here's a chance for Cowan, and that was stopped. The rebound in front, and it bounced over Pacioretty's stick. Leafs intercept a pass at the blue line, and Ekman Larsson settles it down. A lead pass looking for Cowan. Just failed to connect. Canadiens goaltender had to clear it into the corner. Brought out at center now by Reinbacher. He has it turned over. Cowan unable to reach a loose puck as it's down into Montreal territory. And the Canadiens will get it out into the center ice area before Domi is able to get back to recover it there. Pacioretty going to the bench, and Marner coming over the board. So the London Knights line is back in business. Here's Riley snapping it in off the glass into the Montreal zone. Cleared around the boards by Tanev. Trapped by Domi. Back to the point to Riley. Right wing side, Christopher Tanev. Closing. Shoots, and it's right into the chest of Jakub Dobesh, who makes the save. It is 1-0 Toronto. First period, 3:05 to play. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hi, this is Eddie Vedder.
This is Stone Gossard from Pearl Jam. Hey, it's Jeff Ament. Dive deeper into our universe on our exclusive SiriusXM channel. With live tracks, B-sides, 3 complete concerts a day.
Unless you're actually here, you might not believe it.
And some of our favorite music we've handpicked for you.
Here's the good part, 100% commercial free. Pearl Jam Radio.
Channel 22. Or listen at home with the SiriusXM app.
On and off the ice.
Steven Stamkos. You wonder, is that it for him with the Tampa Bay Lightning? He's the guy that's probably, with Marty St. Louis and Vinny LeCavalier, recognized as the all-time greatest Tampa Bay Lightning players. This is all about deciding whether or not the price is going to be right to keep your captain around and potentially keep him a Tampa Bay Lightning member for his entire career.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scored the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Leafs Radio Network.
Face-off coming in the Montreal zone. Tavares from Marner and Riley at 10-12, the scoring play in the first period. 3:05 to play in the frame. And the face-off coming to the left of Jakub Dobes. Spelled D-O-B-E-S. Just the way it sounds. Okay.
I don't think I've tried it yet.
Fine young Czech goaltender.
Yes.
Down the boards it goes. The Czech names are always
among the
difficult.
Hardest,
And we always tease everybody about having Thomas Coberley with us and having to sit with him for like 20 minutes to have him correctly say his name. Not just the way, however you'd like it. No, how's mom and dad say it?
Yeah.
Now the Canadiens break out at center with one man back. The drop pass in on the slide, and it bounced over a stick and took away a decent scoring opportunity. Back to the point, kept in on the near side now for Newhook. His shot is stopped by Stollers. Just the second shot on goal for the Canadiens. And a pass gets by the defense and comes all the way back into Montreal territory. Quickly played up for Newhook. Newhook against the boards. Robertson was able to take it away from him, and Tavares will play it back into his own zone. Ekman Larsson starts out on the left wing with a pass ahead, deflected in by Robertson. Tavares after the puck into the corner for McMahon. McMahon tried to get it back to the point. Ekman Larsson did. Shot that went right off the noodle of Dobes and into the corner. Hit him right in the mask. First thing he knew about it was when it hit him. Played back into the Toronto end, and McCabe circles the goal. Carries up on the right side for Robertson. Ahead for Tavares. Left wing side, McMahon. And from the angle, Dobes is able to cover up on a shot that hits him right in the CH crest on the jersey.
Now, what do you think the odds are that John Tavares has a surprisingly stellar year offensively? And I'm talking, he was, 29 goals last year? I'm talking the 35 to 40 mark.
I agree with you, and I think what you're hinting about here is a little less responsibility,
less pressure.
A little less pressure. Yep, absolutely.
And for the first time in how many years? I'm going from being the captain of the Islanders to captain of the Leafs. I just find, like I said, even in his interviews, it seems like this weight has been gone. He seems a little more animated, a little less serious.
Yep. Puck back at the net, stolen by the Leafs, sent back to the point. Tanev closes with a shot. Tried to get a deflection there right at the side of the goal from Marner, but it went by him. And now the Canadiens have sent it down the ice in dollars. I could have caught myself there because all of a sudden the goalie was trying to stick handle. A pass ahead for Cowan. Cowan in on the right side, stops it up, gets a chance, and the glove hand of Dobes beats him there.
No,
I don't think when you have the big paddle, the big goalie stick, you should be making dekes and stick handling. Just me.
No.
It's just me.
Although Mike Smith wore number 41. for a long time.
Yes.
That's what Stolars is wearing here. I believe he's the first goalie to wear 41.
And he can
If
stick
I'm not mistaken.
But it does get your heart just palpitating.
I do believe number 41, 3 different Leafs have worn that number in their first NHL game and scored.
Kuhlman?
Nikolai Kuhlman was the last. Matt Stajan.
Yes. And
Matt
then, of course,
Stajan did it, and it was the final game of the regular season against Ottawa.
Yep.
It was his first NHL game. He scored, I believe. This is the stupidity. You don't know where stuff is in your own house that you had yesterday. I believe it was Martin Prusek was the goaltender for Ottawa.
And who's the
third? The other, Yuri Tolusti, who would eventually wear number 11. Wore 41 for the Leafs in Pittsburgh. At Belfour's first game as a Leaf as well. The Leafs won 6-0, and he scored in his first game.
You have a wealth of completely useless information that is so stored that it is incredible.
One of the nicknames for Bill Lee, the spaceman, was Toys in the Attic. I think that's me.
You got a lot. Yeah.
I got a lot of toys up there.
It absolutely amazes me because my memory is horrid. And then you come up with all of this stuff, and then, like you say, you can't remember where you parked the car.
And even you catch yourself saying, okay, I know this, but who cares?
Well, that's the problem. That is a problem. I got to admit that.
But then part of it is, what's the use knowing it if I can't share it?
Leafs have it back in their own zone, bank it out at center. Chip back in on a delayed offside. 3 seconds left in the period. Pacioretty got the shot away. Oh, and it was a good one. That may have been the best save that Dobish was asked to make in the period.
Yeah, Pacioretty, not a lot of speed coming down the left wing side. Dobish, give him credit. I think knew how much time was left, that Pacioretty wasn't going to be able to try to fake the shot and go around him. Had to get it away quickly. And Dobish reads it perfectly off the left wing and throws the left hand and left pad up.
The goal is Tavares from Marner and Riley at 10 minutes and 12 seconds of the period. The Leafs with a 1-0 lead after the first period. We'll step aside for our first period intermission. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
You dominated your fantasy football draft by listening to SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio.
Just want to say thank you, because ain't nobody going to beat me after this draft.
You set a winning lineup with the expert advice of the best fantasy football analysts.
I don't see any downside to him this year whatsoever.
But instead of tasting victory, you got this.
Every week is the same. I average like 40 points a week.
Don't panic. Find out how to replace your injured and underperforming players.
Be aggressive, especially on a waiver wire.
On SiriusXM 87.
Hey everybody, thanks for hanging out with us with this awesome community of Toronto sports fans here on TSI tonight for the Leafs game. Please share this link out to your friends, put it on the social boards, put it out on social media. However, let's get more people here in the chat hanging out with us, and the best way to do that is for you to share this link. I can only do so much on my end. We'll get back to it. Now let's go get our friends and have some fun in the chat. We'll see you guys back in there. Cheers, everybody.
Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
This is the NHL. These are pros. You don't want guys to put good power play units on, don't take penalties. You don't want good power play units to score goals when you've given up a whole bunch, kill them. You don't like it, do something about it. If you want to reward your guys who had a good game with the chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team, don't worry about mine.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91. And on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. NHL Morning Skate.
The LA Kings just been a funny animal about their goaltending. I mean, Jonathan Quick for so many years, and then flashes in the pan that quickly dissipate. And Vegas is a great example. They won with Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill. And that was good enough goaltending to win a Stanley Cup, and that, at a minimum, is what the Los Angeles Kings need to do.
NHL Morning Skate
with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar.
Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. On and off the ice.
Steven Stamkos. You wonder, is that it for him with the Tampa Bay Lightning? He's the guy that's probably, with Marty St. Louis and Vinny Lecavalier, recognized as the all-time greatest Tampa Bay Lightning players. This is all about deciding whether or not the price is going to be right to keep your captain around and potentially keep him a Tampa Bay Lightning member for his entire career.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
Sirius XM 91.
And on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scored the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
And then
Here's a chance. Oh, what a stop!
there were eight.
At the line, long drive, rebound, they scored! Zadorov behind the net for Garland in front. Lindholm scores! As Martin backs it in, he's got it!
With the first round behind us, the battles only get more intense.
Blocked by Montour. Out in front, Bobrovsky!
Follow your favorite team.
The Stanley Cup playoffs continue.
NHL Network Radio.
Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
Radio Network.
Marner at the top of the circle with a pass, and they score! Tavares stationed off the doorstep, and the Leafs open the scoring with a power play goal, orchestrated by Mitch Marner.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, the fan of the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Gord Stellick with your intermission and post-game show tonight. Leafs leading 1-0 over the Montreal Canadiens after the first period, and feels good to go into the first intermission with a win, but maybe without William Nylander. That was a weird one.
Oh my goodness! No, so Ailish, we're at the first intermission like we thought Sunday against Ottawa, right? That Toronto should have dominated them. They didn't. They dominated this first period, even though it's only 1-0. I mean, they should. The Los Angeles Kings. It was evident last night the way Drew Doughty went down the first period.
Tough.
That was something significant. He's going to be out for a while. You just play to avoid injuries in the exhibition season, and this one. We keep looking at it. Nick Robertson's got to feel terrible. It's a strange play that it's the old little bump with the stick that quite often in the defensive zone, you'll kind of do it. A defenseman will kind of let you know, hey, I'm here. Just move out a bit more. Move out a bit more. I got here. And I don't know. It was like roller derby. He's trying to get him going quicker. He went down. It's seemingly harmless, but he skated. You know, he didn't even go to the bench. Like normally the protocol is you go to the bench and then the trainer will take you in the dressing room. Went straight to the dressing room. They caught a clip of Craig Berube saying to Mark Savard,
"Where'd he go?
Where'd he go?" And Savvy just going, he went it like so. Oh my God, I don't like. I mean, he's been around a long time, William Nylander. About I don't want to get over Chicken Little complex, but that is very, very worrisome, and it's the last thing you want to see happen in an exhibition game.
Yeah, the play itself, as you mentioned, it was kind of just like a little, like, I don't know if he was trying to get Willie to get into the zone because it was going into the offensive zone. So I was a little confused about that. But he ends up just falling and getting his head hit really hard by, I think it was a Montreal Canadiens' legs. And we know Willie struggled with concussions. We know this postseason he dealt with like the migraines. He had to sit from playoff games. And I'm sure in this Amazon Prime series, which we're going to learn about, they have actually a couple of the episodes or a couple of the games. They watch the games with Willie at home. So we're going to find out quite soon how severe his concussion and his migraine history is. So when you see something like this, you see him skate right off the ice. He didn't even look at the bench. Like, you thinking right away he knows what that feels like. And it's got to be like, I don't know, I'm not going to play doctor, but it's got to be bad news to see him skate right off in a freak accident kind of play that really felt preventable. And yeah, of course, it's Nick Robertson that is the one that does it, and you're going to feel terrible for the kid.
Well, friendly fire. Willie got hurt by a Mitch Marner slap shot earlier. Caught him on the back of the leg. And
it's
then
not his night.
Maybe he's just checking out. I don't. And by the way, I did see that first person story with him. They showed the first episode.
Oh yeah.
And a lot.
Give us the scoop.
Well, it's worth watching. I didn't realize how connected he was with David Pastrnak. How I knew they were friends. Yeah. But they played together in Sweden. Like, they're real friends. So they were two of the star players that they were following. So this fell into their lap, the fact that these two guys would go at each other in the playoffs. So it's really well worth watching. It's like the Leafs did the one All or Nothing.
Oh,
and once it was nothing, so this one, they follow individual players. And that's the key. It's not a team. So, I mean, this is all happiness to talk about. Willie was at the launch on Monday. All was great. And let's hope all is good now. But just a very disconcerting exit by Willie Nylander.
Yeah, if you're looking for it, it's pretty much all over Twitter, or you'll probably see the highlights on Sportsnet. But yeah, hoping for the best. We'll let you know if we get any updates from the Leafs PR team about if Willie's going to return. But this was about halfway through the first period, so we should know something by the second. Let's talk about the goal. It was a really beautiful one. Mitch Marner playing with this. This is Mitch Marner. He plays very confident, very smooth. The way he's dancing around with the puck on a power play, he finds this perfect seam to Tavares, who puts the puck in the net. I'm curious about the power play. Mark Savard, a guy you know really well, coming in to run it. I don't know if it's looked different or if it's going to look different, but I've seen some different structure. They've done some stuff from behind the net, looking outwards, which I like. It's always fun to be kind of like having the defenders looking at you and you've got the puck behind the net, but just being able to have that poise and that control, like this is where the Maple Leafs need to make like their bread this year. They need to capitalize on the power play, and that was a beautiful one. I
think what I've seen early is they seem to go for a quick strike early. And even if you remember Sunday, there was that quick pass across the front of that. Maybe maybe it was Nylander couldn't put in, but I mean, it was 5 seconds into the power play. And to your point about, they want to play a more aggressive style in general, Craig Berube. I think the same goes for the power play, that hanging onto the puck too long. I know you have great skill. We're waiting for that correct opportunity or right chance. I think they're going to be more aggressive, and that's what we saw. And yeah, Mitch Marner, this is what we're, there's no Austin Matthews. Let's hope he's okay. They say it's day to day and whatever, but he's got something, so he's out of the lineup. So Max Pacioretty is the guy that, kind of wins. Now, if Willie Nylander's out, I don't know if that means, Easton Cowan or whoever, but let's worry about that later on. But great goal. And John Tavares, and I like that Jim, the kid at Jim about calling the captain, is going to get used to calling him the ex-captain. So nice one for him. Like I said, everybody, in different ways they use exhibition season. But you don't want to get hurt, number one. You want to get in the flow. You want to get in game shape. You want to get some game action. It's always nice to get a goal.
Yeah, and it's good to work on holding a lead. Leafs were never always the best at that last season, so they're going into the second period here with a 1-0 lead. We'll take a quick break. We'll give us a couple more thoughts before we do send it to the second. You're listening to Most Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Get the official NHL app to watch, read, and listen to all the deets.
All I can say is absolutely wow.
All the sauce. All the saves.
Stop from Vasilevsky.
All the hits. All the snipes. All the sellies.
He scores! Unbelievable!
All the hockey. If it's hockey, it's here. Listen to every NHL game for free, now with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Download the official NHL app now.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate online at carsforkids.ca. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll benefit a child and get a maximum tax credit.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today, and your car can be gone tomorrow.
Fall for Subaru by enjoying fall to the fullest. Think scarlet, burgundy, amber, crimson and copper, but never, never blue. Because with Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, fall is for thick, dark mud splats, terracotta mountain roads, radiant sunsets, kaleidoscopic leaf carpets, and the boldest of adventures. Avoid autumn blues and visit your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
It was a rainy day when Pizzaville decided to stone bake our pizzas the traditional way. That was over 50 years ago. Since then, the big pizza conglomerate started cooking their pizzas on conveyor belts, like you see at the airport. Now you can choose authentic Italian stone-baked pizza or pizza you could mistake for luggage.
Pizzaville Stone-Baked Pizza. Fiercely Canadian. Authentically Italian.
We have a plan that's connecting Ontario. We're building new roads and highways like the Bradford Bypass and Highway 413 to shorten your daily commute by up to an hour. And adding more lanes to reduce gridlock on some of North America's busiest routes to keep you and our economy moving forward. Also, you can get around faster, safer, easier. See what we're building in your community at ontario.ca/builds. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
This October on Sportsnet.
Did you see that?
Be here for a brand new season. For rivalries.
Wow.
Be here for superstars. Because once the action starts, here we go. The excitement is here to stay. October 8th, the puck drops here.
Are you ready? Sportsnet, here for hockey.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish, Forfar, and Gord Stellick for your intermission shows. Leafs with the 1-0 lead after 20 minutes over the Montreal Canadiens. We mentioned it before the break. Looking forward to finding out William Nylander's status. He went down with a little bit of a we'll say a head or neck injury there in the first period. So we'll let you know if we get any news. But it's going to be a little bit of a shaky. I guess they're going to shake up the lines a bit. Maybe that'll help because Craig Berube's trying to figure out who's making this team anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if does that mean that London line is done after one period? Because kind of nice,
yeah.
3 different eras: Easton Cowan, Mitch Marner, and Max Domi. Like the way Max Domi played. Like one thing about. If you're going to use 11 forwards now, he showed his versatility last year in the playoffs when he filled in at center. And I think he's found a really good niche that he could play on any line in any position. But, let's, hey, hang on to a lead. Good habits. Get Craig Berube. He doesn't have to answer that question and get that first win. I mean, well, the Willie Nylander thing, we'll find out. There's not much we could do about it right now. But you played the kind of 20 minutes you should, especially given the strength of your lineup and the weakness of the Montreal Canadian lineup.
Yeah, if we don't see Nylander, we'll see a little bit of a different lineup, but maybe an opportunity for Cowan to continue to shine. He's looking to make this spot or at least give himself some leeway into the regular season before he might go back to the OHL. So Cowan's we got eyes on Cowan, we got eyes on Pacioretty and Robertson as well. Those three kind of dueling for a spot here with the Maple Leafs. We'll let you know if we see, Bonesy and Ralphie will let you know if they see Nylander when they comes out for this second period. But yeah, Leafs 0-2, Habs 2-0. I think this is an important period. I know it's just a preseason, but you want to start building on momentum, and having a lead after one, it's a good place to start.
A nice quick sideline. You see Matt Sundin sitting beside Brad Treliving.
That's really nice.
And yeah, there's some talk. Who knows what? Always great to have him back in town, but some talk about maybe him getting more involved down the road, but he's always got that very distinctive presence.
Yeah. Everybody loves Matt's. It's good to see him on the broadcast. Okay, we'll take a quick break. We'll send it over to Joe Bone and Jim Ralph for the call of the second period next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
SiriusXM presents a brand new exclusive show with former UN ambassador, governor, and presidential candidate Nikki Haley on Nikki Haley Live.
Join me on Nikki Haley Live, a show where we talk about facts, policies that affect your family, stories from the campaign trail, the upcoming election, and maybe a bit about music and sports along the way. Tune in to Nikki Haley Live.
Nikki Haley Live, Wednesdays at 8 a.m. East on Triumph, Channel 111, and on the SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM. The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate. Weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Radio Network.
Back here at Scotiabank Arena, 1-0 Toronto lead after the first period. William Nylander, who collided with a Montreal player's knee while sliding through the neutral zone, left the ice immediately, and I do not believe has made his way back.
I'm with you. I believe the Leafs are down a man over on the bench.
So let's hope that is a precautionary thing and nothing more serious than what it appeared to be.
I think after some of the issues Nylander had in the playoffs last year, you're going to err on the side of caution.
Yep. Played out at center ice by the Leafs, who defend the goal to our left and lead 1-0. Cleared down into the corner. Dobish let it go. It comes around the boards, and unable to grab it there was Robertson, who's out with Pacioretty and Tavares. Played into the Toronto zone. Tanev taken to the boards as the puck comes up on the wing, and it's outletted now, and Tanev jumps into the rush. In on the left wing then for Pacioretty, dropping it back for Robertson. He tried to load up a shot but had the puck roll on him. It comes back to the point. Kept in now by Domi, a centering pass, and the deflection just went by the stick of Robertson, or he was in position A. Jack-Eye getting the puck out at center ice. Domi going back to retrieve it, and he'll dish it off and then get a return pass and starts up the right wing. Cuts through neutral ice. Tripped up. Well, I guess he wasn't. No, I guess he just stumbled and then fell because that stick hit his skates. But the official... Oh, now we get an offside. It is preseason. Everybody's making mistakes. Except you and I, of course. We're in mid-season form.
Yeah. What's the Montreal goalie's name again?
I don't know. I'm really hoping he gets exchanged because the other guy's name is Hughes.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm just glaring over at the bench waiting to jump on that one.
Dobish!
Jakob Dobish.
Okay. Rolls down towards fine young Montreal goalkeeper who decides to cover up on it.
It's going to be DoorDash by the end of the period.
Actually, just thinking that might be a pretty good opportunity for a little extra cash. Have him be the spokesperson for DoorDash.
By the way, Leafs PR have tweeted that Willie Nylander will not return this evening.
I think we've speculated on that already.
Yeah, Austin Matthews did take part in the pregame skate this morning, but again, I think it's something that Craig Berube said is no big deal. But
well, this is no big deal for them to be here in these games, right? Jack-Eye against the boards, had to go off a shin. It comes around to the near side. Played in along the boards for McMahon. Back of the net. It comes out in front of the net. No one could get a stick on it, but Robertson makes a nifty little move. Still with it on the top of the circles. Sends it around back of the net to the far side. Good crowd on hand here tonight. This is not part of the season ticket package. This is people who don't get to come very often. And they're here and enjoying themselves as the Leafs make a change and the Canadiens have the puck back of their own goal. Jack-Eye goes rink wide. Brought on through center by Hudson. Lane Hudson drops into the zone, then lost a handle on the puck in the corner. Puck kicked back for Liljegren, but now the Leafs trying to come up with it, and finally Timothy Liljegren does, getting it around the boards for Christopher Tanev, who plays it off the glass to center ice. Canadiens will shoot it right back in again. Stollers failed to trap it back of the goal. Leafs play it out and down the ice, but it's going to be right on goal. And Jakob Dobish makes the save.
That's right, Joe.
Thank you. Brought in now by Pacioretty. His speed in front of the net just failed to connect there with Tavares, who got flattened against the boards there by Tuck. who stepped into him. Don't think Johnny was prepared for that. Canadiens back in his own zone. It wasn't a charge by any stretch of the imagination. It just kind of stood him up. Now the Canadiens in with a chance. Struble. And a good save by Stolarz as it's deflected wide of the Leaf goal now. Back to the point for Kapanen. He drops it off. Trying to work in over the line. Reinbacher. He gets it back into the slot. A shot just wide. The rebound was tipped just wide of the Toronto goal. Canadiens with their best forays really offensively coming here. And they're up to 4 shots on goal after getting 3 in the first period. Domi works down the left wing and in. Gives his man a bit of a cuff in the head as he tried to get by him. Officials let that go too. Marner trapping at the blue line. Fakes the pass into Liljegren. And he launched it high over top of the net off the glass. Liljegren with it again. Down into the corner. Marner with a little tip pass. Looking for Cowan and it didn't connect. Easton Cowan back to the point to Domi. Domi to the point to Liljegren. Return to Domi with a one-timer. And that was deflected by Dobesh into the corner. This line has thrown the puck around with a lot of authority, haven't they?
It'd be nice to see Easton Cowan snap one, wouldn't it?
There he is across the line with Marner. Marner with a little move to regain in the corner. Left it there, back of the net. Cowan couldn't get it out in front of the goal for Pontus Holmberg. Leafs are trying to get a change started, and the Canadiens will break the center ice. Played in over the line then by Riley Kidney. They'll go up against the boards. The puck comes free to Holmberg, and back of the net for Tanev, who gets it ahead, and Pacioretty chips to neutral ice. 5 minutes into the books in the second period. Leafs with a 1-0 lead. Hudson got it into the slot. Holmberg intercepts. Leafs sends it ahead at center. Robertson couldn't split the defense. Canadiens backhand back into the Toronto end. Tanev sends it around the boards. Pacioretty's pass off Riley's stick. Brought in on the left wing now for Dvorak, who scores! A turnover in the Leaf end when a pass for Riley went astray, and Dvorak took advantage of it and has tied the game at 1.
The worst thing was Riley being stationary. Once the puck got away from him, Dvorak had his feet moving and simply blew right past him. But it was Max Pacioretty who threw the puck from the right wing boards towards the middle of the ice just inside the Leaf blue line. But it was well behind Riley. And Riley pulled up, got a piece of it. But it went right onto the stick of Dvorak, who walks in alone on Stolarz and makes a nifty little forehand, backhand move and tucks it 5-hole to tie this game up at 1.
Leafs get it to the blue line, but no further. They'll regroup it back in their own zone. And Reeves will launch it high into the Montreal end. Played around the boards and out by Montreal, and the Canadiens gather it in neutral ice, and it is played by Engstrom down into the Toronto end. Around back of the net. Ekman-Larsson got it into the corner, and a centering pass in front. Hyndman was there, but he couldn't get enough wood on it. Reeves plays it in behind Ekman-Larsson, who has to retreat back into his own zone for Toronto. Now a rink-wide pass finds Reeves. He got it ahead, 2-on-1 here with Tavares. Trying to center in front for McMahon. Knocked out of the air nicely there by the Canadian defender. Back into the Toronto end. Benoit starts out with a lead pass up on the right side for Liljegren. Liljegren stops up. A weak shot in on goal that is smothered by Dobesh. And he will hold for a face-off in the Montreal zone as we go to a commercial break. The game is tied 1-1. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties
the porch hangs, the pride celebrations. From your favorite fuss shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate online at carsforkids.ca. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll benefit a child and get a maximum tax credit.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today, and your car can be gone tomorrow.
As fall approaches and birds head south, a different kind of bird emerges, the Subaru. While migratory flocks seek warmth, Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive keeps drivers soaring through the wild. During the migrating season, Subaru's hunger for adventure grows exponentially, driving the intrigued radio listeners to fall for Subaru at their local Subaru dealerships, experiencing an adventure of their own. So migrate to your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Holy mackerel, what a move!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Face-off coming in the circle of the left in the Montreal zone. 1-1 tie, 13:05 to play second period. Two teams back at it again on Saturday night. We'll have that action for you beginning at 7 o'clock. McMahon punches the puck into the far corner in the offensive zone. Struble trying to free it up, got it onto the left wing side to his defense partner, and it's played out at center ice where Morgan Riley gets it ahead and plays it now with the assistance of McMahon back into neutral ice. And now the Canadiens work in on the left wing. Gignac with a shot that went off the glove of Stolarz, but it was bouncing to the effect that it was unattainable to the Montreal player who was driving the net. Pass ahead is being deflected, and a souvenir goes rocketing up into the goal seats in behind the Leaf bench.
I'm talking Max Pacioretty earlier in training camp. They asked him how he got number 67 in the first place. He said, it was just assigned to me in Montreal. He said there wasn't a real selection in Montreal because of all the retired and honored jerseys. You kind of like trying to get a single-digit number with the Yankees now, right?
Now, did you hear what his son said about the jersey, the Leaf jersey?
No.
His son said, of all the jerseys you've gotten, Dad, this one looks the best. So, if nothing else, Max Pacioretty's got a youngster at home pulling for him to be wearing the jersey this year. Puck in the Toronto zone. Pushed along the boards to the near side. Canadians get it back to the point. Just kept in, though, by Barron. Around back of the net. McCabe couldn't cut it off. Back it goes to Barron at the point. Shot in traffic. Didn't make it through. That blocked by Riley Kidney. And now the Leafs break it back. Cowan, nifty move in a goal. Oh, and he shot it over top of the goal. Looked like he might have been able to cut across the crease and go backhand, but instead tried to make it top shelf and just missed. Now he makes a great pass in. Great save made by Domesh as he set in Simon Benoit. Best shift of the preseason for the youngster from just outside Strathroy. And that's got the crowd revved up a little bit. Shot in now by Toronto. Did you not agree?
Absolutely.
I thought he should have gone to the backhand.
Although I think he looked up and saw Dobash start to cheat away from the near side post.
A shot smothered by Stolarz at the other end.
So I think he saw, as soon as he saw Dobash go down and start to push to his left, he tried to sneak it back.
But a great move.
Absolutely.
Great speed.
And all created, because of the speed. But I think he looked up and he thought, okay, you're going down early. You're starting to cheat towards the middle. But you're right. I think he had enough speed that in hindsight, if you try to walk around him, you might have been able to tuck it in the far side.
You know, the other thing that never fails to make me kind of laugh a little bit is how young their faces look. That's because I have to look in the mirror.
Oh, no, here, I'm going to tell you, and you're going to agree with this. The worst part is when you start thinking, holy cow, I didn't know he was that old. Then you realize it's still younger than your own kids.
That's right. Shot went wide of the goal. Canadians keep it in at the point. But Mr. Cowan has got a lot of youngster still in his space, that's for sure. Pontus Holmberg trying to tie it up. It comes around the boards. The Canadians fail to keep it in. And then it's stolen. Nick Robertson, 2-on-1, looking for a pass in. Oh, and a brilliant save made by Dobish. Bobby McMahon was the beneficiary of a great pass from Nick Robertson. And so the two kids who are trying desperately to impress enough to find employment on a regular basis have had back-to-back great plays and great shifts. And here goes Robertson again. Left wing side, but no one to help. Look out, got wired there by Struble as he tried to make an extra move and hold the puck longer. Long shot wide of the Leaf goal. Kept in at the blue line by Joshua Roy. Around back of the net, the Leafs unable to get to it. Played back to the point. Canadians keeping the puck in. And the shot goes around back of the goal. Trying to chip it free now is Gignac. Got it back to the point. Struble, long shot, blocked in front of the net. Cleared off the boards for the veteran Pacioretty. Pacioretty sends it ahead. Canadians bring it right back in. Liljegren is tripped. Penalty coming. That would have been tough not to notice because Liljegren literally slid into the official's feet.
Although Nylander was very close to sliding into him as well, but the Leafs have come up with some great opportunities here in the second period. We'll go back to the power play.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
This week on Let's Go with Bill Belichick, Max Crosby, Peter King, and me, Jim Gray. Along with Charles Barkley and Coach Belichick.
One of the reasons I admire Coach Belichick, the number one thing has always got to be the game. So always respect the guys who played the game before you.
I try to teach our players that all the time, every chance I get. The history of the game. You know, the game just didn't get great when you walked on the field.
Listen to the extended version of Let's Go, now available exclusively on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
This is the NHL. These are pros. You don't want guys to put good power play units on, don't take penalties. You don't want good power play units to score goals when you've given up a whole bunch, kill them. You don't like it, do something about it. If you want to reward your guys who had a good game with a chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team. Don't worry about mine.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91. And on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. NHL Morning Skate.
The LA Kings just been a funny animal about their goaltending. I mean, Jonathan Quick for so many years, and then flashes in the pan that quickly dissipate. And Vegas is a great example. They won with Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill. And that was good enough goaltending to win a Stanley Cup, and that, at a minimum, is what the Los Angeles Kings need to do.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Steller. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
And the Leafs Radio Network.
So going along with Jim Ralph. Haley Sporfar and Gord Stellick standing by. Armin Zagarian attempting to run this operation. Forgot to bring us water. Did very little in the preparation of the broadcast. I don't even know why I'm bothering to bring his name up, but Andrew Holland, steadfast as always, standing there.
Armin's on the one-way ticket this year.
Oh, I didn't know. Riley with a shot that is covered up then by Dobish.
Andrew's still on a two-way contract, so that's why he's got to come in. Yeah, for Armin, it's just don't get hurt before the regular season. Just get ready. Just get yourself ready.
Really?
Yeah.
Be nice if he did something. Face off to the left in the Montreal zone. Second power play of the game for Toronto. Marner works it back to the blue line to Domi. Domi walks the line to the left wing side, drops it off to Riley into the corner on the right side for Marner. Back of the net it goes. Pacioretty looking for Tavares in front, goes to Domi instead. Now back to Riley. Riley to Marner. Marner holds down low. Tavares doesn't shoot it. Riley does, but it deflected off a leg and went wide. Puck is rattled around the boards, but trapped by Riley at the near point. He'll find Domi over on the far side, and now Marner has it at the top of the circle. Into the slot area for Pacioretty. Return to Marner. Nifty move to get away from one checker. Works back towards the blue line. Marner still with it. Down low with a pass in front, and Tavares couldn't deflect it. Crowd in the corner trying to dig out a loose puck. Pacioretty and Tavares finally do. Back to the blue line. Kept in with a pass into the corner off Pacioretty. Coming to the front of the net, the Leafs trying to jam it in, and Tavares had it knocked away by the goalkeeper. Another shot by Domi, or by Marner, is stopped. Then Marner goes and gets his own rebound. Gives it to Domi. Back to the blue line to Riley. To Marner. Fake shot. Holds to the top of the circle. 36 seconds in the power play. Domi fails to control the puck, and the Canadiens, a tired group, get it out and down the ice. That was impressive, though.
Yeah, great movement. Not a lot actually got to the net. But they owned the Canadiens for about a minute 20 in their own end.
Robertson sends it down around the boards to the near side. Along the wall, it comes back to the blue line, just kept in by Ekman-Larsson. Ekman-Larsson with it on the left side, into the corner, back of the net for Pontus Holmberg. Holmberg curls, took a shot from a sharp angle, a big rebound in Stores, and it's cleared out at center, and back on the left wing coming out of the penalty box is Tuck as he tries to drive the net. Given a pretty good jolt there by Ekman-Larsson, who gives his man a cross-check after a hit in the boards. And the face-off will come in the Leaf zone as Stollers has covered up on it.
By the way, Luke Tuck is in fact related to Alex Tuck, former Vegas Golden Knight turned Buffalo Sabre. So he comes out of the penalty box and got a bit of a gift. The puck was passed back to the right point in the Leaf zone. Out of the zone, right under the stick of Tuck, but fortunately Oliver Ekman-Larsson was able to get back.
He read the note from his goaltender, the slapping of the stick, that, hey, this guy's coming out of the box, I'd better not be hanging around the blue line, or he would have had a clear-cut breakaway, right? Played down into the Montreal zone. Reeves ran into his man, and both players up against the boards now, trying to dig it free. Struble has it against the wall. Now back of the net. Camp to the point. Benoit leaves for Liljegren. Shot deflects off a stick and goes over the glass and is out of play with 6:27 to go here in the second period. The game tied 1-1. It was 1-1 after the first period in Ottawa the other night, and not until the giveaway at 12:36 of the third period did we get another goal.
It would also appear that Anthony Stolarz is going to go the distance in this one.
I would assume.
Unless they're going to eventually just get to 2 periods for the starter and bring in the relief in the third. Dobash the same way.
4 youngsters, their shirts off, waving them over their heads to the delight of everybody in attendance.
So Jakub Dobash had pretty good numbers in Laval last year. 51 games played, 24-8-6, 2.93 goals against average, 906 save percentage. So pretty good numbers for former Buckeye. 2 seasons at Ohio State.
Yep. Face off to the right of Dobash. And the draw scrummed, and
we got a holding penalty.
I don't know. A stick comes up and clips Pontus Holmberg. I think it's going to be a high sticking call coming here to Montreal. And it is.
Montreal number 48, Jimmy Montreal has taken.
That's kind of funny. When you look at the lineup tonight, at first glance, you say, you know what, this is pretty close to a Leaf regular season lineup, knowing that Matthews isn't in. And you'll say, oh, yeah, Matthew Nyes isn't in. Carly Yarncroc isn't in. So that's when you start going through it and say, okay, who comes out? You know, and that's where I think it gets interesting with Easton Cowan or Nick Robertson. Nick Robertson can play in the NHL. He's not a young kid anymore trying to find his way. He's got the skill. He's been much better defensively, I think. But has yet to really been blessed with playing big numbers in games. It always seems to be even. You'll see him with a 2-goal game last year, and it'd be 11, 12 minutes on a nightly basis.
Domi brings the power play to the Leaf or the Montreal blue line, but it is turned over there and shot down the ice. Up ahead for Tavares, left for Domi, up now to the left wing side to Marner. Gave it back to Domi, who curls around back of the net, works to the left wing side, dropped it back to Riley. Riley walks the line, right wing side now for Domi, a pass down low, a deflection by Tavares, and goaltender has it pinned up against the side of the net. Stop play, and a face-off will come in the Montreal zone with 5.5 minutes to play in the second period. 23-10, the Leafs are out shooting the Canadiens. The deflection by Tavares was a good one, but it just struck the side of the net.
This is 49 seconds into this power play. Right away, Craig Berube is going to go to the second unit. As a quick glance, Robertson, Cowan, Holmberg, McMahon, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Draw won by Montreal and rattled around the boards and out and down the ice, courtesy David Reinbacher. Leafs back to organize in their own zone. Brought on by Toronto and across the line. Cowan with a nifty move in the backhand, and he sent that one just wide. He has certainly shown flashes here as it's shot down the ice by Montreal.
Yeah, I think every game he's looked better, hasn't he? 3 straight that he's played in all preseason games for the Leafs so far.
Cowan in across the line, stops up, little saucer pass, Ekman-Larsson winds. His shot was partially deflected and it almost handcuffed the goaltender. Ekman-Larsson with it again in the slot, dropping it back in front of the net. Robertson tried to get a shot away, but it was blocked. One of the defenseman's skates has broken and he is unable to move as he's hobbling around in front of the goal. That, I believe, is Reinbacher. And now he's being pushed to the he did a pirouette as he tried to get to the bench. Boy, we've seen so much of that over the last number of years, haven't we, because of the replaceable blades that come out.
Well, we've seen a lot with goaltenders as well.
Yes, yeah. Yep, absolutely.
And I mean, that's one of those where he ended up for about 20 seconds, looked like one of those defensemen in a table hockey game. He just
couldn't move.
He kind of spin around, but
I'm on one leg.
Yeah.
It is a 1-1 tie. Leafs and Canadiens. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
It was a rainy day when Pizzaville declared,
"We'll never be the fastest. We'll never be the cheapest. We'll never be the snazziest dressed."
What?
Yeah, my point is, we want to be the best.
At Pizzaville, we want to make the best pizza. Stone-baked, the traditional Italian way.
Pizzaville Stone-Baked Pizza. Fiercely Canadian. Authentically Italian.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate online at carsforkids.ca. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll benefit a child and get a maximum tax credit.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate
Automate today, and your car can be gone tomorrow.
We have a plan that's connecting Ontario. We're leading the largest transit expansion in North America. New projects like the Ontario Line subway and Hazel McCallion Light Rail will relieve overcrowding, with the Scarborough and Yonge North subways connecting more communities, and expanding GO Transit with more trips, faster train service, and two-way all-day service. Also, you can get around faster, safer, easier. See what we're building in your community at ontario.ca/builds. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey. On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Face off in the Montreal zone to the right. .401 left to play in the second period, and the game's still tied 1-1. They've given a scramble there as a good save made by Dobesh as it comes back to the point. Shot by Tanev, didn't make it through. One of the Canadiens has broken his stick, and they're going to get it to the line and just out. And then a whistle and an offside as Lorenz got knocked down by Joel Armia. Face-off coming in the center ice area. They've given it the assist on the Dvorak goal to Alex Barré-Boulet. So Tavares from Marner and Riley, the Leaf goal. Canadians start out of their own end. Chipped ahead by Hudson to get it into the zone. Liljegren will swing it around the boards off Marner. It'll come into neutral ice. Marner trying to catch up to it, but couldn't pick it away, and is brought right back in again by Owen Beck of the Canadiens. Down into the corner.
Hey, everybody.
Trying to get it back to the point, and he has. Beck with it again, dropping it off now for Hudson. His shot deflected wide of the Leaf goal. Liljegren made a good play to knock it away from Jackeye, who was in deep. And the Canadiens then turn the puck over. Domi's got a partial breakaway in on the left wing. Oh, and he tried to feed it back and really blew his chance. He gets it again off to the wing. Cowan in with a shot. Hit the side of the goal. He certainly could have taken that to the net, couldn't he? Now to Cowan again. A backhand doesn't make it through. Stolen back by Marner. Marner to Domi. Against the boards it comes to the point. Riley to the near side for Cowan. Cowan knocked down on the play by Jackeye. Battles back but can't come up with the puck. Canadians get it out at center. Played by Barré-Boulet and across the line. I see the Montreal Canadiens sweater number 27. The last one I can think of is Frank Mahovlich. Shot here by Riley. Knocked away by the Canadiens goaltender. Didn't really know where the rebound had gone. Canadians have iced the puck, but it'll be waved off. Rattled around the boards by McCabe. Out at center, Pacioretty tries to find Robertson. Robertson hounding the puck, stolen. Robertson in, gonna be a shot, scores! Wow! Nick Robertson, you have just moved to the front of the class.
The second effort on the takeaway. Engstrom tries to peel up the right wing boards, get away from Robertson, who stays with him, lifts his stick. Engstrom, I think, was going to draw a penalty had Robertson not scored, but Robertson lifts the stick, plays the body, and then walks in, middle of the ice, and the quick release. I think this is 5-hole all the way along the ice. And I mean, this release is just sick by Nick Robertson. But it was the battle that got him the puck and the opportunity that is going to impress as much as the finish.
Puck pursuit, absolutely. The bat, and you know, a lot of the preseason workouts by Craig Berube have been one-on-one
battles. Yep.
Puck pursuit battles in an enclosed area, and that was an enclosed area. That was a perfect example of what they've been working on, and Nick Robertson puts the finishing touches to it. 5-on-5, his performance last year was among the league's best.
Oh, yeah,
Percentage of ice time,
goal per 60 games.
Yes, for 60 minutes. And it was 5-on-5 where the Leafs were very, very good at it. Obviously, Austin Matthews scored 51 goals 5-on-5. That's not bad. So Robertson.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say that, with all due respect to Adam Engstrom, that you're going to face stiffer competition as the season goes on. But bottom line is, you won the battle that was presented to you.
Yep. 2-1 Toronto. Having said that, Cowan has made a couple of great plays too. Just hasn't finished, right?
Oh. And then you really like seeing him with Domi and Mitch Marner as well.
Yep. And what is going to happen here, and it's just the law of the land. They can't send Nick Robertson to the minors. They'll lose him on waivers.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
They can send Easton Cowan back to junior hockey. And another team, another organization, even the one that they're playing tonight, would probably have Cowan being a part of the finishing roster. As a scramble in front of the Canadiens' goal, and Reeves couldn't get it over top of the shoulder. And the Canadiens will break it out with a pass that is knocked away and cleared back out at center ice. Liljegren, unable to get it ahead to his winger the first time, finds Tavares, who quickly finds Reeves. Reeves in over the line, fed it through in the goal crease area, but out of the reach of Steven Lorenz. And whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, it's just the fact of the matter that what you can and cannot do. Here's a chance for Marner. Good pad save, a rebound in front of the net for Cowan, and he couldn't get his stick on it. Played down into the Toronto end as the horn goes to end the period. So Nick Robertson, an unassisted goal, gives the Leafs a 2-1 lead to take to the dressing room after 40 minutes of play.
You know, you got to give some credit to Jakub Dobiš as well, who's played exceptionally well on goal for the Montreal Canadiens. 29-10. The Leafs out shooting the Habs after 40 minutes. And if not for Dobiš, even the save off Ryan Reeves near the end there, this could easily be 4-5-1 Toronto.
We will step aside. Eilich Forfar and Gord Stellick to take you through the second period intermission. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Here's what's happening on Sirius XM Sports.
NFL Week 4 is here. Sirius XM NFL Radio with a comprehensive preview of each game this week, starting with tonight's Dallas Cowboys at New York Giants battle. Get perspective from many players, head coaches, and analysts. NFL Radio, Sirius XM Channel 88, and the Sirius XM app.
Sirius XM Sports, wherever you are, your team plays here.
On and off the ice.
Steven Stamkos. You wonder, is that it for him with the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Hey, Insiders, special message coming your way. We just got off the phone with our rep at Sick Kids, and they're going to be extending the Create 100K campaign. So we are going to join that up for opening night for Leafs hockey. We're going to throw a Bills game in there as well, and we're going to do a little rally for Sick Kids Hospital, and we're going to make some dreams come true in that Create 100K campaign. We'll put some links out here. I'm going to get stuff set up in the next few days. I can't wait to get started, but I just wanted to let you guys know to be on the lookout for that. TSI and Sick Kids doing big things together. Let's make it happen. Cheers, everybody.
And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
This is the NHL. These are pros. You don't want guys to put good power play units on, don't take penalties. You don't want good power play units to score goals when you've given up a whole bunch, kill them. You don't like it, do something about it. If you want to reward your guys who had a good game with the chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team. Don't worry about mine.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. NHL Morning Skate.
The LA Kings has been a funny animal about their goaltending. I mean, Jonathan Quick for so many years, and then flashes in the pan that quickly dissipate. And Vegas is a great example. They won with Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill. And that was good enough goaltending to win a Stanley Cup, and that, at a minimum, is what the Los Angeles Kings need to do.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. And then,
here's a chance. Oh, what a stop!
there were 8.
At the line, long drive, rebound, they scored!
Zadorov behind the net for Garland in front. Lindholm scores! As Martin backs it in, he's got it!
With the first round behind us, the battles only get more intense.
Blocked by Montour. Out in front, Bobrovsky!
Follow your favorite team.
The Stanley Cup playoffs continue.
NHL Network Radio.
Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now, with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scored the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Leafs Radio Network.
Robertson hounding the puck, stolen. Robertson in, going to be a shot, scores! Wow! Nick Robertson, you have just moved to the front of the class.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Gord Stellick with your intermission and post-game show. Leafs lead 2-1 over the Montreal Canadiens after 40 minutes thanks to that beauty of a goal by Nick Robertson. Steals the puck, puts it in the net, and as Bonesy said, puts himself at the front of the class.
Yeah, I love Bonesy, but I got to think he spent very little time at the front of the class. I think he was in the back, whatever,
My
trying to
mom
comfy.
went to school with Bonesy in Sudbury, and she could attest to that.
She would know.
Yeah.
I think he barely made class. Who knows? To be truth be told, but he's a Class A as far as a play-by-play broadcaster. So Ailish, we kind of put the Willie Nylander thing behind us in not going to play. They stress precautionary.
Yeah, that's nice that they put that in the tweet.
You know, just about that, because it looks more and more like some kind of headshot from that unfortunate play in the first period. And then the two individuals that you really want to see shine both do. Easton Cowan, best few shifts he's had by far. God, he looks young. He looks 15. But
when they put him on the broadcast, I'm like, wow, that is a child.
But that's how Mitch Marner looked.
Yeah,
and actually, who else was that? James Van Riemsdyk. Oh my goodness, he looked like he was 12 when he got drafted.
Yeah.
So anyway, but he's playing like the big boy tonight, the way he's played, and then also Nick Robertson, and feeling horrible, as you know, like right away being involved in that tap to Nylander that led to Nylander's injury. Man, what a great period Nick Robertson had. So the two individuals that you're looking to make an impression. Yes. They made an impression.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be the story of the game so far. I loved what we saw from Easton Cowan. It's been an interesting training camp just because he's moved from that first group to that second group. And Craig Berube kind of made a split, whether it was between game 2 and 3, saying, okay, our first practice group will be mostly the big guys. And Easton Cowan was put in group 2, but tonight he got the opportunity to play on line 1 with the other two London Knights. And when he played like he did in that second period, that's what you want to see from Easton Cowan. I don't know if he's going to make the team. If he doesn't make the team, he's going to go back to the OHL. And I wonder, like, from your perspective, a lot of people, I mean, we can never change the rules at this point, but it's either the NHL or the OHL. And it's just very different, right? It doesn't feel, does it feel disappointing to Easton Cowan to not make the NHL? Probably, but he's going to go back and be the best player, and he's going to be the captain, and he's going to go to the World Juniors. Like, how does he maintain that same level of work ethic and accountability and attention to detail when he's so close? Like, if he doesn't make it this year, then we go through it all over again next year. I just want to make sure that he has that same drive all season.
Well, I mean, there will be value going back, another year of maturity off the ice as well, and being a leader, and also having been to a training camp and understanding about being a pro and what it takes, and being exposed. So, I mean, that's if he does go back. Ailish, to your point, and being in the front office before, an ideal world would be, could he play in the American Hockey League? And if he was NCAA player or European, he could. Obviously,
can they just fix that rule?
Well, they should try to make exceptions, but right now the exception is to protect the junior teams. So if you got someone who's elite and can make the NHL, that's one thing. Otherwise, you'd have an exodus of that next tier and you'd have nobody playing junior hockey. Whether that's right or wrong, that's the way they have it. But he's going to get regular season games. I mean, that'll be the litmus test in the regular season before they make that final decision. And the other, Ailish, you talk about the two. I like that everyone's got to earn something this year. No one's been given. You're not put on the first squad. And also, this was the year, even though I like the way they competed in the playoffs, going to a Game 7, that for once, this thing, it's unacceptable, starting with Sheldon Keefe. You didn't get the job done. No kid gloves anymore. Whatever. This is real. We're going to get a new captain a year early because we got to find, my voice gets a little emotional there, because we got, whatever. We're done with whatever. Any little incremental thing that can make a difference, we're going to do it.
So Ethan Cowan, he's played really good this period. Let's see if we can keep it up in the third. And then, of course, Nick Robertson, as you mentioned it, like a lot of attention on him this offseason about the contract. He decides to stay with Toronto. Maybe he was looking for something else. Maybe he was hoping to get an offer sheet. Maybe he was hoping to make more money, but he's with the Leafs now. And there was even preseason questions that it would be still a possibility that he gets traded. If he plays like this, can he be a top 6 winger? Because I think that's where Nick Robertson needs to play to shine. If he's going to be in the bottom 6, I just don't think that fits his style.
Well, absolutely. No, he can be in the top 6, but then you're saying, okay, what about Easton Cowan if he makes the team? What about Max Pacioretty? So and Jim Ralph had the good line saying, okay, you look at this, go, okay, this is your opening day lineup. No, wait a sec. There's no Matthew Nyes. There's no Kelly Yarncroke. I mean, like, wait. Well, who comes out to put them in? And that's the part about being competitive and having competition. And again, that stuff starts, some fall by the wayside. There's injuries, so it's not as big a deal as you get going. But yes, there's some interesting battles. In the case of Nick Robertson, they're kind of out of options. And it would be, I think there's probably an agreeing that, okay, if you're not going to make it, pick a number, 20 games. Well, you don't back yourself in a corner with a number of games, but just the spirit that we will look to move you somewhere else. We owe you that. And I think maybe that's a bit of the meeting of the minds when he signed this deal.
All right, all eyes on some of these winger spots that are up for grabs. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with a couple more thoughts before the third period. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Sportsnet, your ultimate hockey destination. With more matchups than anywhere else, including Scotiabank Wednesday Night Hockey and Hockey Night in Canada.
Wild action!
With in-depth analysis on Hockey Central, plus live stream games even on the go with the Sportsnet app. The puck drops October 8th. Dive into the action with Sportsnet. Here for hockey.
Here I come! From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate online at carsforkids.ca. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll benefit a child and get a maximum tax credit.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today, and your car can be gone tomorrow.
Fall for Subaru by enjoying fall to the fullest. Think scarlet, burgundy, amber, crimson and copper, but never, never blue. Because with Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, fall is for thick, dark mud splats, terracotta mountain roads, radiant sunsets, kaleidoscopic leaf carpets, and the boldest of adventures. Avoid autumn blues and visit your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
We have a plan that's connecting Ontario. We're building new roads and highways like the Bradford Bypass and Highway 413 to shorten your daily commute by up to an hour. And adding more lanes to reduce gridlock on some of North America's busiest routes to keep you and our economy moving forward. Also, you can get around faster, safer, easier. See what we're building in your community at ontario.ca/builds. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
October 3rd on City TV.
You're safe. I got you.
Law & Order Thursday returns with all new seasons of Law & Order.
I love this job, and I love trying cases.
And Olivia Benson is back with Law & Order SVU.
I've dedicated my life to helping victims. So you're not giving up on us. Giving up? I'm just getting started.
Law & Order Thursday premieres October 3rd on City TV or stream it on City TV Plus.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Y'all ready?
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Gord Stellick with your intermission show and your post game coming up after the third Leafs lead 2-1 over the Montreal Canadiens after 40 minutes. It's been good to see the Leafs have some power play opportunities, and we were just talking off the air without Austin Matthews and without William Nylander. It's been really nice to see Mitch Marner be the one kind of quarterbacking it and having some time with the puck. And when he looks so good, when he's got, a lot of space and the Canadians aren't challenging him too much, he's dancing around.
Well, again, not a great Canadian lineup, but right, he's dancing around. He's the guy on the power play, and he always has been the guy. A little bit of a criticism is maybe shoot more because teams figured out that he was never going to shoot. So he did start mixing it up last year, which was good to see. So, Ailish, we've seen a lot of positives. This is kind of where we thought we'd be at the 40-minute mark Sunday against Ottawa and weren't. The only thing is, two things. They're only up 2-1. This is a game they should be kicking ass. They're only up 2-1. And the other part is, I know it's exhibition, but holding a lead, good habits, and that is an expectation I would have. And when we're talking at the end of the game, we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, I will say some credit for the Montreal netminder. Cowan had this one shift with a breakaway. Then he sets up a breakaway, dances through on the power play, and some really big saves. And then there was the Nick Robertson breakaway that he also saved before Nick Robertson eventually scored. So, they could be up at like 3-1, 4-1, most definitely, but they just haven't been able to put it in the net at times. And, this is preseason. It's a little sloppy at times, but it would be nice to capitalize in the third period, get the crowd going a little bit more and get a bit of a lead.
Well, that flurry we saw against Ottawa when they took the lead and then lost in overtime, but they at least had that flurry and got the crowd in the game. I will say, even though he hasn't been tested a ton, Anthony Stolarz played really well. Like, he's had a couple of tough saves to make, even though he has not had a ton of shots. So that's another positive. This is a guy... him and Laurent Brossoit were kind of two backup goaltenders that really elevated their game and got bigger money. Brossoit went from Winnipeg to Chicago and Stolarz from Florida. He was better than Bobrovsky in the regular season, arguably. So I find it an upgrade. Sorry, Ilya Samsonov, but I find it an upgrade. And he's also impressed in the limited work he's had to do.
Yeah, he's big and net. Like, he feels also secure, whereas sometimes with whether it's a Matt Murray or a Samsonov, you just have that feeling of like, oh, don't do that. Oh, are you going to hurt yourself? Or, so far so good with Stolarz. And we also mentioned he's got a very shiny chrome helmet.
Yeah, it does.
That thing is like NASA's spaceship. Is that legal?
Well, it's kind of like the Vegas Golden Knights helmets, right? I think he's on the wrong team right now. But anyway, it certainly is noticeable. By the way, is every goaltender now 6'6"?
I mean, guess so. If your kid is listening and they're that tall, get them in the net.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right, we'll send it over to the third period with Joe Bone and Jim Ralph next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Starting September 30th, SiriusXM is giving away a pair of tickets to every MLB postseason game through the World Series. Listen to MLB Network Radio for the clues and be the first caller to correctly name the postseason hero, and you'll receive a pair of tickets to an MLB postseason game. MLB Network Radio has your chance to win on SiriusXM 89 and the all-new SiriusXM app. No transportation will be included in connection with these prizes. For full contest information and official rules, visit SiriusXM.com/MLB postseason heroes. No purchase necessary. Open only to current SiriusXM subscribers prior to September 22nd. Must be a U.S. resident over the age of 18.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Ray Hudson here with an important announcement. You can listen to your favourite Sirius XM FC shows on the all-new Sirius XM app, now available for all subscribers.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
And the Leafs Radio Network.
Leafs carry a 2-1 lead into the third period against Les Bleu Blancs et Rouge from Montreal. And Matt Murray has come on to play the third period for the Maple Leafs in goal. And Jakub Dobeš is remaining in the net for the Montreal Canadiens. Matt Murray has to play somewhere. And virtually a whole year because of that hip, where he played just sparingly.
How does he become Martin Jones this year?
Yep, exactly.
The other sort of nagging question is neither Stolarz or Joseph Woll have put together a season where you play 50 or 60 games.
But Murray, who played second half in game one, gave up 3 goals on 8 shots against Ottawa. Well, he's in here now. He was 1-2 in the American Hockey League a year ago. 4.03 and an 846 save percentage. Leafs get it down into the offensive end. Played back by Cowan. Long shot taken by McCabe was steered wide. Canadians get it up on the wing and now will try to work back in their own zone to reorganize. Dvorak scored the goal for the Canadians, working on the left wing, getting it out and down the ice and into the Toronto end. And Murray will steer it off to the side to Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Pass ahead at center goes off Lorenz into the offensive zone. Into the corner goes David Camp. Camp trying to dig it out. Played back to the blue line. A shot in on goal, stopped by the Canadiens goalkeeper, and around the boards it's going to be played, but cut off there by Reeves. He tried to center, but it went off the heel of the stick. And the Canadiens get it out and down the ice, and an icing call coming as a result.
Just put up on the screen here in the Sportsnet TV broadcast. Left wing options for the Leafs.
And
7 players.
How
4
many spots are there?
And there were no fourth line players.
No.
Mentioned in that group.
It becomes a mathematical equation, mainly because of the salary cap, mainly because of contractual situations,
and just simple numbers.
Yes. And where can someone go if they aren't here? And so, I mean, Easton Cowan would, literally I have to be almost the best player on the ice every night to suggest that, okay, we can forego putting Nick Robertson on waivers or trading him in order to free up a spot. But that's not happening. As Robertson got a shot away that was blocked. Canadians unable to get it out. Leafs are changing their defense. Hit there by Robertson, but the puck up along the boards, and McMahon couldn't keep it in. Canadians get to center and shoot it down into the Toronto end. Tanev ahead for Tavares. Regrouped again into the lead zone. A bank pass deflects down into Montreal territory. Pacioretty hustling after it. There's another player that you wonder, is there enough room? Back in across the line. Working around back of the net was Kidney for the Canadians. Couldn't get it out in front. Now the Canadians do get an opportunity to play it back of the goal for Barré-Boulet. It comes back to the point with a long shot that was 10 feet wide of the net, and Pacioretty will backhand it out and down the ice. No icing. Both teams getting a change in. Barrow drops it back, gets a return pass on the left wing, tried to send it in. That struck the linesman. Battle ensues with Marner working the end boards and comes out of the scrum with it and curls back. Quick pass ahead for Domi. Domi trying to cut in, and a diving play made by the defenseman. And Domi then ends up with his stick in his head and very politely threw it back to him. And the battle continues. That was Jaden Struble. I can't play with two of these. Besides, this is the wrong hand. You take it back. Now they're talking about it back in the Montreal zone, but nothing more is going to come of it. Now at the other end, McCabe.
Is that Tuck?
And Luke Tuck having a little pushing and shoving session, but nothing more. That was comical. What am I doing with two of these? I mean, here, that looks like yours. You take it.
Now, if you're a real stickler for the rule book, that might be holding the stick penalty on Max Domi that he got away with. Now you could say that Montreal player might have got away with a trip or a takedown on Domi before that.
They just showed it again on the replay.
And then right in front of the official, for some reason, Max Domi grabs the Montreal player by the numbers.
Hey, if you got away with holding the stick and keeping it, you might as well get away with that too. Draw one by Montreal as it comes back to the point. Worked in on the left wing, trying to get a shot away was Hudson. It was blocked. Back to the blue line once more, near side, and Jackeye with a shot that struck his own player, and he is a little sore getting back into the defensive zone. That was off of Dvorak. And then
Bobby McMahon
crashes into the net.
McMahon's slow to get up.
Seems to be all right.
And again, there's so many common elements between players that get to this level, and we talked about it before. It was a January game against, I believe, was it not St. Louis? Bobby McMahon wasn't supposed to be in the lineup. There was some illnesses. He got in, had a 3-goal game, and then went on that heater for about 3 weeks and solidified his spot, because at that point he was going to be a healthy scratch, maybe sent back down to the Toronto Marlies. And now you're saying, well, he's got to play. He's one of your regular guys because he proved himself with an opportunity. And, for so many guys, and I know it's maybe the most overused cliche in sports, an injury is an opportunity for somebody else.
Yep.
But it is so true. And whether it's Nick Robertson or Easton Cowan, the problem with Robertson is the injuries have usually been his.
Yes.
Same as Joseph Wall.
Lorenz into the corner, battles for the loose puck. Camp is able to play it in back of the Montreal goal, and the Canadians try to get it up on the wing, and now they do, and Gignac getting it out at center, and the pass kind of bogs things down. The Canadians retreat back into their own end. Change is coming. Long lead pass, poked off a stick to the near boards, punched out at center by the Maple Leafs, and the Canadians regroup with it back in their own zone. Pass ahead on the right side for Barron. He works in with a shot, high and wide over top of the goal. Canadians have not tested Murray as yet. Bouncing puck in the slot area in the Toronto end. Leafs unable to reach it. Robertson finally does. Hooked off the puck, though. Numerical counterpart Roy sent it wide of the Leaf goal. Canadians continue the attack. Shot deflects off a stick, and it's gone up into the screen and out of play. One of the better shifts the Canadians had. Some good puck retrieval and a turnover, but still not getting a decent scoring chance out of it.
And then these Oilers just faced 10 shots. Matt Murray's already faced 3 in the first 5 minutes and 46 seconds of the third period. But for Murray, probably there was so many broken plays in front of him in the game against the Ottawa Senators here on Sunday, where it wasn't what you would consider a clean game. Just you kind of hope the Leafs protect him a little better.
In fairness, when's the last clean game you've seen?
Well, I would even say the game in Ottawa, from a goaltender standpoint. Yeah. It's boring for the majority of hockey fans, but for goaltenders where it's just, you play the angle, you track the puck, not a lot of scrambles or giveaways.
Going a little tight with the headphones on. Can't be more than a couple of months old. It's a blue outfit, so I'm going with it. It's a little guy. And he's at his first game. Getting a big round of applause as he's up on the scoreboard. And the Bowen family expecting a little youngster coming along by the mid part of October. Derek and Aaron having their second youngster. Brooklyn's going to get a little brother to terrorize. Help raise. Brought to center ice by Cowan. He'll flip it down into the Montreal zone. Camp up against the end boards. Rolled it out in front, but it was scooped away by the goalkeeper. Back to the point it comes to Riley. Riley with a pass off a skate. Karams to Tanev. He keeps the puck in. Tanev gets it handed back to him. Now finds Lorenz. Back to Riley. Leafs doing a nice job of moving the puck around here, but not getting anything down low. Now Riley's shot towards the front of the net. Went off a body and into the near corner. Canadians come out with it. And they'll skate it up at center and send a long bouncing shot in on Murray, who scoops it aside. 12:48 left to play here in period number 3. The Leafs with a 2-1 lead. Working down into the corner was Pontus Holmberg. Leafs get it back to the point to McCabe, who backhands down into the corner. McCabe, left-handed shot, playing the right side for Toronto. Unable to keep it in here. And Owen Beck will get it out at center, but can't get around McCabe cleanly. Nice play by McCabe to take him one-on-one. Outlet pass then by Ekman Larson. Ends up back on McCabe's stick. He carries in on the right side with a pass in, looking for McMahon. Couldn't get a redirect on the net and went over top off the glass. McMahon tried to out-muscle Struble for a loose puck. And the Canadians come away with it. Wow. Daring pass there by Barré-Boulet. Went right through the blue paint to the other side. All you needed was a small skate in the way there to create mayhem. Long shoot-in from about 65 feet is covered up by Matt Murray, bringing a face-off in the Toronto end. It is 2-1 in favor of the Maple Leafs. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
I'm Andy Cohen, and I want you to feel the energy of my SiriusXM music channel, the Kiki Lounge. It's the place to come together and hear my personally crafted mix of music. Songs I love to chill with and party to.
What's up, insiders? Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Appreciate it. The Leafs with the 2-1 lead. I love it. Let's finish this one strong, boys. We need to get the win, buds. Come on. We got to do it. I just wanted to stop in and give a big shout out to tonight's Super Chats. Jose Duarte, $20 super chat. Go Leafs, go. Thank you, Jose. Your support is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. It is unreal, man. I am so thankful. And welcome to the club. We got 2 new insiders tonight. We got Paul Gagnon, and Claude Lapierre would be my guess. I'm not sure if it's Pierre, because if it's a lowercase I or an uppercase, who cares? Doesn't matter. Claude, welcome to the club. Thanks for hanging out with us. Now let's just take it to the chat here before we get back to the third period. Cheers to Albert. Welcome. We got Lisa, Ron. We got Rod, Stefan. Love it. Juan Munoz as well. There's Connor in the chat as well. Thanks for firing it up, guys, and chatting it up. Wilf as well. Thank you. Good to see some of the old guard in here tonight as well, popping in for a little bit of the preseason. Now let's get back to the hockey. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Send over a super chat to get your name on the list. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Cheers, everybody.
Back with you as the Leafs will travel to Montreal to tangle with the Canadiens. 7 o'clock start on
message coming
Saturday
your way.
night.
We just got off the phone with our rep and the kids. And
talking about how the
extending the
preseason even used to be more games. The Buffalo Sabres.
So we are going to join that up
year.
for opening night.
And there
for
always
Leafs
used to
hockey.
seem to be a game between the Leafs and Flyers in London for a long stretch.
And that was because the Comcast people ran the rink in London. And so it was subsequently it came back as a bouncing shot comes in on Murray. And he makes a pretty good save there to hold on. So that was sort of a trade-off of some sort. But, yeah, we were always down in London.
And for whatever reason, again, wonderful moments. And thank God I remember it because I could bring it up now. I believe that's the first time we ever saw Sergei Bobrovsky. It was in a preseason game between the Flyers and the Leafs.
Now, next Sunday, or this coming Sunday, is Hockey Day in Elliott Lake that has been moved to the Sudbury Arena. So the Leafs are not involved in it, but
what was that move because of?
Elliott Lake's arena was about 200 people, and the Sudbury Arena.
Well, we were in Lucan.
What? Yes. But we were in St. Thomas when it wasn't St. Thomas's, right?
Yeah.
So, at any rate, it will be treated as a Northern Ontario event. And in my hometown, that's very special. Thank you. My son David up there doing the Sudbury Wolves games on radio, and so it'll be an opportunity there. And I'm going up there on the 17th and 18th of October because the Garson Arena is being rededicated in honor of the chief, George Armstrong. Yeah. So unfortunately, I'll also have to put up with the McCourt brothers. Dale is fine, but Danny is completely nuts, as you are well aware.
Yes.
Played in over the line, the Canadiens organizing, play it out at center, and it'll be chipped down into the Toronto end by Dvorak. Kicked along the boards by McCabe. And around the boards it comes. Easter Seals is the beneficiary of, I know, Rick Vibe and Daryl Sittler, and who else is going up there? Oh, Wendell Clark are all going to be part of a small hockey tournament that goes on in support of Easter Seals. Cowan has to come back in his own zone, but puck is stolen back by Dvorak. Dvorak circles the Leaf goal, got it back to the point, sent back in along the boards. Heineman plays it into the near corner, played to the point by Reinbacher, but it is sent out high by the Leafs into neutral ice. Half this third period is in the books. The Leafs with a 2-1 lead and out shooting Montreal 31-14. Benoit ahead for Domi, slashed out and down the ice, icing a possibility, and Cowan couldn't quite get around Reinbacher, who was hustling back, and the 5th overall pick from 2 years ago was able to create an icing to bring it back into the Toronto end.
Leafs and Canadiens finally win again in the postseason, albeit because of the Canadian division that was created during COVID in 2001. But you would like to see the rivalries between the Leafs, Senators, and Montreal Canadiens get ratcheted up just a little bit. And every rivalry is because of playoff series, right? I think when you look at Boston being a rival and Tampa Bay Lightning,
well,
it's all based around playoff series.
We didn't see Ullmark in either game, but he played tonight, gave up 1 goal on 28 shots. So he is the key, is he not, for Ottawa to make...
Yeah, a big part of that. I mean, we said Tim Stützle, as we get another whistle here in a point show, Tim Stützle dropped from 39 goals to, 19 or 18, so there was a big drop there. Claude Giroux dropped 15 goals from the previous year. So, and the power play for Ottawa has got a... Stützle had 1 power play goal on the year. So even though Ullmark's going to be a big part of any kind of turnaround, Tim Stützle's got to get back to what he was a couple of years ago.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
As fall approaches and birds head south, a different kind of bird emerges, the Subaru. While migratory flocks seek warmth, Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive keeps drivers soaring through the wild. During the migrating season, Subaru's hunger for adventure grows exponentially, driving the intrigued radio listeners to fall for Subaru at their local Subaru dealerships, experiencing an adventure of their own. So migrate to your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
From the biggest stadiums to the...
What's up, hockey fans? Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for this Leafs against the Habs matchup. It's the preseason, but it doesn't matter. When Montreal and Toronto get together, it's always awesome. Please hit that subscribe button if you are new. Thank you for joining us. Please become an insider and help us reach 40,000 subscribers by opening night. We are so close. We're almost there. I can smell it. Thank you, guys. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on that bell so you don't miss it when we go live for every single Toronto Maple Leafs game and a heck of a lot of other sports action here on TSI. Cheers, everybody. Back to the chat. We'll see you guys in there. Let's have some fun. Go Leafs, go.
Every NHL team. Don't miss out. Shop now and get today's special offer. NHLshop.ca. A Fanatics experience.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
John Tavares set up by Willie. The Leafs win it in overtime.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Leafs win the faceoff, and a sharp angle shot is swallowed up by Dovesh. And another faceoff coming in the Montreal zone. William Nylander left the game in the first period and has not returned. Precautionary is what is being mentioned by the PR staff, and more will come in the post-game comments from the head coach. But it did not look all that serious as the Leafs keep the puck in along the boards off the glove of Robertson, and the Canadiens' Armia will play it high through center ice, turned over at the Leaf blue line. McCabe couldn't get it, ran into his own man, but the Canadiens' Armia now shoots it in over the line. Round back of the net, Tanev got it up ahead for Robertson. Return to Tanev, fed into the near corner. Riley had some difficulties with it, but gets it out. And now Robertson trying to spring McMahon, had it intercepted, and the Canadiens bring it right back in again. Into the far corner for Joshua Roy. Pass in front of the net, intercepted. Off the skates and brought out at center now by Toronto. And the Leafs are just going to gingerly play it down into Montreal territory to arrange for a change of players. 7:40 to play in the third period. Tavares and Robertson for the Maple Leafs. Dvorak for Montreal. 2-1 Toronto. Bounce down into the Toronto end. Out of the goal comes Murray, punching it around the boards for Camp. He's able to punch it further and get it down into Canadiens territory, and the Habs have to go back for it. Right wing side, Barron. I guess maybe some young fans don't know why the nickname of the Montreal Canadiens is Habs.
Habitants.
Habitants. Exactly. Habitants. Short form. And
little push and shove. I don't think anything's going to come to this.
Luke Tuck took a backhand shot after the whistle had gone, and
Simon Benoit had to pay his respects. The funny thing is, the Leafs in the third period of the preseason opener here at home against the Ottawa Senators Sunday night had 4 goals in the third period. In the other 7.5 periods, they've got 4 goals. And that's with a fairly full lineup. No Austin Matthews. Willie Nylander left early in this game, injured in the first period. We have not had a power play in a while, have we here?
No, not since the second period. Yeah, 13:41. Canadians play it out at center. It's usually when you manage to jinx it. Puck comes back to the point. A shot that deflects off Cowan's stick and has rocketed up into the screen and out of play. 6:35 to go in the third period.
We'll say, are there not more Montreal Canadiens jerseys than usual dotting the crowd here tonight?
No, I think it's about the same. There's a lot over there and some over there and some
over
more
there.
over there and a couple over there, some more over there, 2 or 3 over there. Long shot stopped by Murray.
So yes.
Yeah.
There are a few more. I don't think we've ever been prompted to count before.
No. Now, having said that, when we got to travel a few years ago, going to the Bell Center, there were a lot of blue jerseys dotted throughout. Brought in over the line now by Dvorak. A centering pass, and it was deflected just wide of the net. Domi starts up, got it to the line, and just out. Canadians work it right back in again. A drop pass now and chipped into the corner is Newhook. Newhook gets it back to the point. Canadians have pressed here, looking for the equalizer. Engstrom, a shot right on, big rebound, knocked away. Good save made by Murray. And the Leafs carry out at center, but Cowan lost the handle on it, but got some assistance from Marner, who was able to backhand it down the ice. 5.5 minutes to play in the third. To center ice now for Barron. Dropped it off. Pushed ahead by the Leafs. They'll get it back out into neutral ice. And if the Leafs are practicing protecting a 1-goal lead, they've done a fairly decent job. There's really not been an awful lot of offensive zone time for the Maple Leafs as we get an icing here against Toronto.
Yes, Craig Berube would probably prefer the Leafs kill the remainder of this time in the Montreal zone, trying to get the insurance marker. Shots favoring the Leafs 32-16. 5:09 to go here in the third. 2-1 Toronto. Leafs probably the second period, not probably, the most dangerous they've been all night. Easton Cowan, Nick Robertson both put on clinics in the second, but only 1 goal to show for it.
But if you are Robertson and Cowan and others, the coaching staff wants to see how you protect a 1-goal lead. Are you diligent in the defensive coverage? Are you diligent on getting the puck out when you get a chance? Are you diligent of puck possession in the offensive zone? Canadians start back out of their own end. They get to center. In across the line with a pass in, broken up. The loose puck is poked out on the left wing. And Bobby McMahon plays it off to Liljegren, who rings the boards with it, but it won't clear. Kept in now by the Canadians, and a shot goes off a stick and goes up into the screen and out of play. 4:26 left to play here in the third period as we step aside. 2-1 in favor of the Maple Leafs in the third period. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Baseball's postseason race heats up on MLB Network. Network Radio.
Grand slam.
Every pitch, every swing, and every catch matters.
Good one. Good night.
MLB Network Radio brings you all the live action.
Never seen a play like that.
And expert analysis you need to follow your team. Don't miss a moment of the chase. On MLB Network Radio, Sirius XM 89, and the all-new Sirius XM app. Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
This is the NHL. These are pros. You don't want guys to put good power play units on, don't take penalties. You don't want good power play units to score goals when you've given up a whole bunch, kill them. You don't like it, do something about it. If you want to reward your guys who had a good game with a chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team. Don't worry about mine.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
Sirius XM 91.
And on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. NHL Morning Skate.
The LA Kings just been a funny animal about their goaltending. I mean, Jonathan Quick for so many years, and then flashes in the pan that quickly dissipate. And Vegas is a great example. They won with Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill. And that was good enough goaltending to win a Stanley Cup, and that, at a minimum, is what the Los Angeles Kings need to do.
NHL Morning Skate
With Scott Laughlin and Gord Steller.
weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern
On NHL Network Radio.
Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
Hudson here with an important announcement. You can listen to your favorite Sirius XM FC shows on the all-new Sirius XM app, now available for all subscribers.
Radio Network.
Face off in the Toronto zone. 4:26 left to play in the third period. Face off to the right of Matt Murray.
Murray's stopping 6 of 6 he's faced here in the third.
Face off controlled by Montreal. Walking the line, but it comes out over the line, and the Canadiens, I don't really think, brought it back in. I think the linesman was a little quick with the whistle, but it is blown dead offside, and they'll do it, face it off in the center ice area.
Well, the kid, Joko Dobesh, has been impressive in goal for Montreal, hasn't he? Best save of the night for him was a 2-on-1 between Easton Cowan and Bobby McMahon. Great setup by Cowan. And Dobesh somehow propelled himself to the right and was able to kick out the right pad and take it off the stick of McMahon.
Lorenz and Reeves dig the puck free. Lorenz got it to the side of the goal, but couldn't get it out in front. David Camp back to the point. It quickly comes to Riley. His shot deflects high over top of the goal. Camp trying to recover it again, and it's stolen back by Heineman, who takes it back into the Canadiens' end. They'll get it out at center. Brought to the Toronto line and backhanded in by Alex Newhook. Goes around back of the net. Ekman Larsson getting it up on the wing. Pontus Holmberg gets it out at center with a pass on the left wing, and it'll be just chipped in by the defenseman Ekman Larsson. 3.5 minutes to play in the third. Beck got it in over the line. Leafs shoot it right back out again. Backpedaling with it is Engstrom. Got it ahead at center and shot in. Murray out of the net to stop it back of the goal. Around on the boards it comes, and McCabe one-hands it ahead, but Simon Benoit failed to get to it. Canadiens are able to keep it in. Now looking to get organized. Pass on the wing for Beck. A shot from an angle, and Murray has to come across and make a pretty good save. Maybe the best save he's made thus far.
Yeah, that's a little awkward on this. Engstrom let it go from the right wing circle. It stuck down from the right point. And Murray got over, and then it was almost in that area, right on his left hip. Which he was able to get the glove there, but that's what usually when you find some holes, that's where it is. And I believe the Canadiens have called a timeout, haven't they?
Which is a little strange. There's 2:59 left to go in the third period, and unless they're going to make the decision now to go with 6 attackers, which wouldn't be out of the realm of a possibility. Martin St-Louis.
Yeah.
And behind the
our old friend Stefan Robida behind the Habs bench as well as an assistant.
have an island named after him?
Yes, we're just afraid to say it around Lou Lamoriello when Lou was here. Be very careful.
Very careful.
And yet eventually that seeped out into mainstream.
So let's see. Is Dobesh going to the bench? Yes, he is. So the Canadiens with 2:59 to play.
All right, it'll be interesting to see.
They're going to roll the dice a little bit here.
Yeah, who Craig Berube will go with. Domi, Marner, Ekman Larson, Holmberg, and Chris Tanev out to defend. But a pretty important face-off to be taken by Pontus Holmberg.
And the draw scrummed. Canadians get to it on the near boards. Now working it back towards the point, courtesy Newhook, but it goes past the defenseman Lane Hudson and all the way back into Montreal territory. Hudson takes it back in the empty cage. Now starts out with it. Hudson dropping it back with speed through the neutral zone is Kapanen. Pass intercepted. Domi launching it on the backhand past the empty net. Missed it by 35.5 feet.
I don't know whether... I'm going to hope that he tried not to get that much on it to ice it.
Because the crosshairs were not good.
Yeah, that was...
The scope needs work. Face off again in the Toronto zone to the right. Holmberg will take the face off. And everybody moving a little prematurely. They'll get them reset. And the draw is scrummed. Carried into the corner. Ekman Larson ties his man up. Leafs get it freed up. Marner starts out. Just gets it out at center ice. Domi was breaking, but Marner had no chance to get him the puck. Fired in by Montreal, but it is caromed off the glass and gone into the screen. So the face-off's going to come back outside the blue line. No movement to have Dobesh back into the game, or is it? See, I should be a coach. I knew that right away.
I'm going to confess something to you. And it's embarrassing to admit, because you mentioned you played Stratomatic baseball growing up, and the lineups and everything. I was that nerd more with baseball growing up. I was a big Cincinnati Red fan in the 70s, and that's before they won back-to-back World Series. I got the video game, the baseball game, and I started by saying I'll create the Reds and the LA Dodgers.
Okay.
And then the Pirates, then the Orioles. I created every player that played in 1975 in Major League Baseball. And the expansion teams that no longer, that weren't in the league then, from Seattle to Tampa, I created them with trainers, coaches, and other broadcasters' names. So you actually played shortstop for Tampa this year.
I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Cleared out at center ice, and we got to off the bench.
They had to keep the ratings low enough that they got
very low.
Yeah. You were not a threat on the base paths.
I wasn't?
No, you were not.
I'm pretty sure I wasn't a threat with a bat in my hand either.
All of a sudden, I'd have Bobby Hastings hitting .361.
Oh, come on!
I'd have to say
play more ball than Bobby Hastings.
I know, so I had to readjust the ratings. And I don't know where. I mean, it all goes back for a childhood. You remember those games, like you said, with Stratomatic baseball.
Yep.
And for me, we always used to play. I had a buddy of mine that used to come up and rent a cottage for my grandparents from Chicago. And he'd have the Cubs, I'd have the Cincinnati Reds.
Play forever.
And we found these old box scores where we kept with every player.
Sure.
So. But halfway through it, I'm going, like, what am I doing? Like, it took me like 10 days, 2 weeks almost to do it.
Marner's got the puck up against the boards with his skates, and he won't let it free. And now it does squirt free, and Tanev has to hustle back. Goaltender still in the net as the Leafs send it out at center, and Marner bunted it down into the Montreal zone, and so that'll keep Dobesh in the net. Canadians back in their own zone. Marner ties up his man. It goes around back of the net. Marner steals the puck. Centers in front. Oh, and a chance. Dobish made a great save there on Pontus Holmberg. Now he's edging towards the bench, and there he goes. Minute 3 to go in the third. Round on the boards, it'll come to Holmberg. He just needs to get it out, and he does. Canadians back in their own zone. Barron got it ahead and icing, and that's going to put Dobish back into the goal with 48.7 seconds. When I was speaking of Stratomatic baseball, when I was at university, I think I majored in that. I had 2 teams. I had the 54 Giants and the 27 Yankees.
It's a pretty good team.
Babe Ruth, you recall, hit 60. In my league, he hit 59. That's how close it was. We also played a 162-game schedule.
So you were into analytics long before.
Long before.
Yeah, for me, it's about doing it. So you had Rod Crew. Bill Madlock led the National League in batting average that year.
Draw to the right in the Montreal zone. They didn't have Stratomatic hockey.
No. Actually, the hockey game's coming out, too. So I usually go back and start with the 75 Flyers.
Oh, there you go.
I got to get a life.
You really do. Pass up at center. Dobish has to retreat again because the Leafs have dragged it into the zone, and it's a good thing he did. He had to make a bad save sliding back into the net. Now he edges out. Canadians to center. Deflects in over the line. McCabe comes away with the puck, trying to chip it back up on the wing. Lorenz takes it up against the boards with 20 seconds left. He's got it pinned there. Puck comes free. Canadians try to work it out of the corner with Armia sent wide. Dozen seconds left. Rolls back towards the blue line. Canadians get it down into the corner with 6 seconds. Wrap around attempt comes free. Back to the point. 2 seconds left. A shot blocked. And there'll be no overtime.
Yeah, we were a little exhausted earlier in the preseason, but the Leafs do a great job defending. Montreal really does not get any kind of scoring chance in the last 2.5 minutes of the game, but we will still soldier on with the 3-star selection.
Yes, we will. And here are the 3 stars.
Brought to you by Molson's, right? You're still saying?
I believe it is. Yeah. Is it brought to you by Molson's? Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well,
excuse me. Molson, everyone in.
What? Well, not everyone. Only 3 for the 3-star selection. But as we get through the horn here, star number 3, Jakub Dobish. Stops 32 of 34 in goal for the Montreal Canadiens. Star number 2, Nick Robertson, I thought was outstanding from a Leaf standpoint, especially in the second period. Easton Cowan was his best preseason game to date. But star number 1, Mitch Marner showed you why he's an elite player. The setup of the John Tavares goal. He also had the great setup to Bobby McMahon late. He could have had a 3 or 4 point night. So a guy that's come into the season with a lot of eyes on him and a lot of whispering. Mitch Marner does not appear to be bothered by all the outside noise.
I'm pretty sure there's been more than whisper.
Oh, yeah.
It has been fairly loud and boisterous, but we'll see what happens. At any rate, we invite you to join us on Saturday. These 2 teams play again in Montreal this time. We'll have that action for you at 7 o'clock. Gord Stellick, Ailish Forfar standing by with the postgame show. Leafs win 2-1. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
You've been listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Leafs Radio Network. There's a Molson with your name on it.
Hey, I'm Eric Church. I'm taking you inside my very own Nashville hospital, Chiefs on Broadway, for a one-of-a-kind, full-band live performance. This will be the first time you can hear me live from Chiefs. Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, exclusively on my channel, Outsiders Radio. Listen at home on Alexa, Google Home, smart TVs, and anywhere on the SiriusXM app.
On and off the ice.
Steven Stamkos. You wonder, is that it for him with the Tampa Bay Lightning? He's the guy that's probably, with Marty St. Louis and Vinny LeCavalier, recognized as the all-time greatest Tampa Bay Lightning players. This is all about deciding whether or not the price is going to be right to keep your captain around and potentially keep him a Tampa Bay Lightning member for his entire career.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio,
SiriusXM 91,
and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
This is the NHL. These are pros. You don't want guys to put good power play units on, don't take penalties. You don't want good power play units to score goals when you've given up a whole bunch, kill them. You don't like it, do something about it. If you want to reward your guys who had a good game with a chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team. Don't worry about mine.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. NHL Morning Skate.
The LA Kings has been a funny animal about their goaltending. I mean, Jonathan Quick for so many years, and then flashes in the pan that quickly dissipate. And Vegas is a great example. They won with Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill. And that was good enough goaltending to win a Stanley Cup, and that, at a minimum, is what the Los Angeles Kings need to do.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. And then,
here's a chance. Oh, what a stop!
there were eight.
At the line, long drive, rebound, they scored!
Zadorov behind the net for Garland in front. Lindholm scores! As Martin backs it in, he scores!
With the first round behind us, the battles only get more intense.
Blocked by Montour. Out in front, Bobrovsky!
Follow your favorite team.
The Stanley Cup playoffs continue.
NHL Network Radio.
SiriusXM.
Hey Insiders, special message coming your way. We just got off the phone with our rep at Sick Kids, and they're going to be extending the Create 100K campaign. So we are going to join that up for opening night for Leafs hockey. We're going to throw a Bills game in there as well, and we're going to do a little rally for Sick Kids Hospital, and we're going to make some dreams come true in that Create 100K campaign. We'll put some links out here. I'm going to get stuff set up in the next few days. I can't wait to get started, but I just wanted to let you guys know to be on the lookout for that. TSI and Sick Kids doing big things together. Let's make it happen. Cheers, everybody.
Could ask that question about the Leafs being winless so far.
Good to get one under the belt, you know?
Yeah, you know, Jim and Joe just said at the end, like, okay, take away that they protected the lead. They did a good job in the last 3-4 minutes. I thought the last 30 seconds, they gave it up a little bit in the waning seconds. And all in all, I thought Montreal had a lot of zone time in the third period. So I wouldn't call it impressive. It was kind of like you outplayed them. And the scoreboard is what matters. So you won 2-1 a game. You should have won a lot more. And, of course, it was nice to see Nick Robertson and Easton Cowan, two players that really needed or you wanted to have that kind of game for the Maple Leafs, particularly after, and we'll talk about it more, and we'll hear from Berube, just that freak play that Nick Robertson was involved in that unfortunately led to Willie Nylander's injury in the first period.
Yeah, so we see most of the game without William Nylander. Obviously, we'll hopefully get some more updates when the podium starts, but it didn't look great. And then we're just getting word here that I didn't notice John Tavares much, and I thought I was going crazy, but they did hold him out for most of the third period. He only played 2 shifts in the third, but remained on the bench after appearing to injure his right leg. Great. John Tavares only played a total of 12 and a half minutes. So you didn't have William Nylander due to injury. It looks like John Tavares might have something lingering here, a leg injury. And obviously Austin Matthews wasn't in the lineup tonight because he might have something going on. So this is preseason hockey, and that is not nice words for the Leafs to read that 3 of their core 4 are injured.
He took a hit that caught him by surprise, and I didn't think it would have affected his leg, but it did seem, that might have been the play that did it on John Tavares. But, you know, hey, the Credo 4 exhibition hockey is about certain young players getting a chance to show, but veteran players, you're not judging them. Just get ready for the season and don't get injured. And, you know, the LA Kings last night, Drew Doughty, that's a big, big injury for them. And hoping tonight, we'll figure out about Willie. Like, nice to hear Artemi Panarin's back on the ice for the Rangers. Austin Matthews, they say they're not worried about it. I always worry about it. And so
when it's Austin Matthews, like, you can't help but feel like you need to know everything about it, because that can't be something that lingers.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so the sick bay is getting a little too big for El Gordo right now.
There's a lot of money in the sick bay too. That's some expensive sick bay.
They can afford private rooms.
Yeah,
that's the one thing.
They have
time.
a whole wing in the hospital. I will say with the fact that, you know, some of the major pieces of the Leafs lineup was out, I thought Marner shined. And maybe it's because there was no Willie and no Matthews, and Tavares only played 12 and a half minutes, but he just looked like he had the puck on his stick and was controlling the game. And it is easy to be the center of attention when you're probably the best player on the ice, but he did perform that way. So this is what Marner's going to be about this year, right? It's an individual year in a sense, but it's a team game. It's kind of a weird thing to weigh, right? He wants to make his money. He wants to be a Maple Leaf, but right now there's nothing in stone. So you're playing for yourself, but you're playing for a team. And I always wonder the mentality in a contract year and how that may, you know, positively influence someone to play better, but also think about himself at the end.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, Mark Savard did this very show with me a number of years ago, and it was coming up to contract year, and he called him the Mitch Marner money machine. You know, and now he is, as assistant coach, involved in the power play. And I think quite often assistant coaches in all sports get too much credit and too much blame if things go well or don't go well. But I really think I'm very biased about Savvy, and I just like the way he sees the game. And in Mitch, I know he's loving the opportunity to work with Mitch Marner. You mentioned about on the power play, it seemed that he held the puck quite a bit, like he was the quarterback. Now, again, there's no Matthews, there's no Nylander. And they also seem to be trying to make the quick strike. And, you know, just not, you know, so I'm contradicting myself when I say that, but make the quick strike. But then when it's the point guard that has the ball, in this case, the puck, it was Mitch Marner. So I agree. Normally I'd expect Mitch to have 2 goals to have an impressive game, and very well could have happened tonight. But in a 2-1 win when they should have scored more, I did like the presence of Mitch Marner tonight.
Definitely. Okay, we'll take a quick break. We're going to wait for Craig Berube to join the podium. So we'll get a quick break in, and we'll come back with some more thoughts on Molson Leafs hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate online at carsforkids.ca. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll benefit a child and get a maximum tax credit.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today, and your car can be gone tomorrow.
We have a plan that's connecting Ontario. We're building new roads and highways like the Bradford Bypass and Highway 413 to shorten your daily commute by up to an hour, and adding more lanes to reduce gridlock on some of North America.
What's up, hockey fans? Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for this Leafs against the Habs matchup. It's the preseason, but it doesn't matter. When Montreal and Toronto get together, it's always awesome. Please hit that subscribe button if you are new. Thank you for joining us. Please become an insider and help us reach 40,000 subscribers by opening night. We are so close. We're almost there. I can smell it. Thank you, guys. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on that bell so you don't miss it when we go live for every single Toronto Maple Leafs game and a heck of a lot of other sports action here on TSI. Cheers, everybody. Back to the chat. We'll see you guys in there. Let's have some fun. Go Leafs, go.
Authentically Italian.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Got it into the slot now for Nyes, who scores!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Gord Stellick with the post-game show. Leafs with a 2-1 win over Montreal tonight. Got a couple things to go through before we get a chance to hear from Craig Berube, and I want to ask you about something that Justin Bourne, our Justin Bourne on Sportsnet, just said about Max Pacioretty on the Sportsnet show. So, quote, "Are we sure about this? Are you really going to trade a guy like Robertson for him? I just don't know." end quote. And this is a very interesting dialogue because it feels like it's either going to be Robertson or Max Pacioretty. In preseason, I was team Robertson, right? Because I thought the younger guy with something to prove, who's not got 2 Achilles that have torn in 6 months. But then I saw Max Pacioretty's first game, and I thought, wow, he can put the puck in the net. And then tonight, Gaudreau, I see the great game that Nick Robertson has. And so it's like flip-flop. I don't know what is the right decision here.
Yeah, well, again, it's interesting. Again, I mentioned earlier, I feel that probably there's a spirit for Nick Robertson that if he's not going to fit an appropriate thing, that they would look for a trade rather than his demanding a trade and he's going to go and hold his breath and go somewhere else. You do have time still. This patience is a virtue, and I'm not being glib, but I mean, man, if they keep getting injured like this, all of a sudden, the depth becomes something you need because you need to fill those spots. So I understand what Justin's saying. Max Pacioretty, the big thing, we talked about it in the Ottawa game, was he didn't get a chance to play with good centers in Washington last year because they lost Kuznetsov, they lost Backstrom, and here he's going to get a chance to play with good centers. So is Nick Robertson. Yeah. I like them both right now. But you can't play them all in the top 2 lines. I understand that. All they can do is go out and make a good showing. Max Pacioretty did that against Ottawa. Nick Robertson did that tonight. And there's a little bit of more runway to go, but I understand what Justin's saying. If it's going to be a one-trick wonder in Pacioretty, so to speak, but if it's a difference maker in winning a Stanley Cup or going deeper in the playoffs, I mean, these are the kind of things you have to gauge, but you also don't have to be bullied or pressured into making snap decisions.
That's true. And it feels like you've already invested so much in Nick Robertson. Like he's been in your organization. You've been like, this is the year. Okay, it didn't work out. This is the year. This is the off season. And maybe there's like a forcing of it in a sense. Like this has to work for Nick Robertson or else it looks like a failure on us for not developing him right. So I can see all sides of the argument. Tonight, Nick Robertson gets my vote. On Sunday night, Max Pacioretty got my vote. So it's kind of one of those, like, you got to take the bull by the horns at the rest of this series of preseason games to see who's going to be the person that becomes clean.
Yeah, let's look at Rasmus Sandin, first round pick. And I kept thinking, man, come on. He's got to find a role there. You got to find a niche. You got to stick with it. And they didn't, but they got a first round pick, which they used to draft Easton Cowan when they traded him to Washington. But it's just that kind of feel because you look, hey, and unlike up front where the Leafs have a lot of depth of forward, on D, they never really have developed anyone, so to speak. But at some point, they cut bait. The key thing was it was a later first-round pick, but they used it quite wisely. So they're not just going to give Nick Robertson away. They can't ask for the farm, but they're not just going to give him away. But I kind of look at that as a bit of a comparable right now. Yeah,
that's a good point. I remember when Rasmus Sandin went to Washington too. It kind of felt like a fresh start for him too. And I think he played pretty well in the first couple months that he was there. I've tracked his game since. Kind of forgot that Rasmus Sandin was once a part of this journey. But yeah, the defense side of it, you're right. Like, when's the last time there was a defense that came up through the system? Like, where's Topi Niemela? Where are these? Yeah. Like, where are these guys? Are they going to have their moment? Right now, though, I'll say with the way that we've seen this decor be reshaped throughout the offseason, I'm not watching Maple Leafs hockey being like, right? It's starting to look pretty solid. You got Ekman Larson out there today. You've got Tanev and Riley, and I still think there's some growing pains. I feel for Riley, who's had so many different partners. Like, let's see what he looks like with Tanev for an entire preseason and a couple months of the regular season. I think he'll settle in, but I'm feeling pretty confident about where the D are right now. Yeah, and let's hope that Luke Shen partner karma can be recreated for Morgan Riley. And another point, just to go back quickly, is once you make that decision, and Justin's opinion is a great opinion, but once you make that decision, don't worry about it. Yeah. If Nick Robertson kicks ass somewhere else, so be it. Good for him. Yeah. You made that decision. If Pacioretty, if that's what it comes down to, those two, if he does the job here, then, he's a veteran, then get another younger guy that can do it after Pacioretty is done. So that's the other. It feels like they have that with like McMahon and Cowan and Fraser Minton. Like they have some young guys coming. Yeah. So you can't sweat it. Whatever. So if Nick Robertson scores 30 goals for another team, so be it, and that's not exactly what you want. Let's face it, the human side, you don't want to see that. Oh, that's funny. I want to ask you about Craig Berube, just because we've only seen 3 games, but how long does it usually take to, oh, that's not Craig Berube. We saw a movement, but that's the other head coach at the Marty St. Louis playing the role of Craig Berube, yes. But Craig Berube, before we do get him here, How long does it take till you think the coach has really, sunk his teeth in a team? You got the off season, which you're not in the locker room every day, but then training camp happens, preseason happens, and then the season happens. Like, when do you think there's enough time and effort been put in by Craig Berube where the guys they're humming and everything's flowing?
Yeah, it's going Craig's way. Whatever Craig's way would be. Having a training camp is huge. An entire training camp, because a lot of head coaches this year have not had a training camp with their particular teams. Like, you think of a big personality like Patrick Waugh with the Islanders. Like that's a big presence who now is being a big presence, particularly when they blow a big lead to the New York Rangers on Sunday, in that regard. So I would say, Ailish, it would, if I had to pick, say, 20 games or something like that, kind of a number like that, about getting the feel that, okay, I like the way things are going here. I like this. This is Craig Berube's kind of team. Craig Berube's kind of setup, in sync with the assistant coaches, players in sync with the assistant coaches. And the first few days of training camp, he already played a more aggressive, in-your-face style of hockey, which Sheldon Keefe, when he came, it was more of a puck possession, don't give the puck up so easily style of hockey that you initially saw. And the team, they're really skilled players, and then you don't want to overdo it, but you have a certain philosophy and you want to make sure they buy into it.
Yeah, you almost have to kind of unlearn some of the habits and the ways in which one head coach had taught you. You take the positive from it, but you have to respond differently to Craig Berube, who seems much different than Sheldon Keefe. We'll take one more break here before we wait to hear from the aforementioned Craig Berube. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Jaden Daniels is incredibly talented. I like what I'm seeing there in Washington.
When it happens in the NFL, we're reacting to it on Sirius XM NFL Radio.
Derrick Henry, they call him the king for a reason. This cat coming in, he ain't fooling around.
Get closer to the game with interviews with players, coaches, and executives.
Geno Smith, quarterback, Seattle Seahawks.
I always focus on just getting better. Everything has to improve.
From the field to the front office, nobody covers the game like Sirius XM NFL Radio. Channel 88.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction.
Cheers, hockey fans. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs hosting their heated rivals, the Montreal Canadiens, the Habs. Ooh, it's just such a great rivalry between Toronto and Montreal. Nothing better. It is the preseason, but can you imagine what it's going to be like on opening night? Because it's already crazy in the preseason. Thanks for being here. Please hit that like button down below. Helps bring more Leafs fans and hockey fans here into the chat. Let's shoot to get that number up as high as possible. Please, if you're listening with us, take a second to exit out of that chat and hit that thumbs up. Now let's get back to the hockey. Let's see what our Leafs can do tonight at home in front of their faithful. We'll see you guys in the chat. Go, Leafs, go! Go, Leafs, go! Go, Leafs, go!
And Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey, Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Gord Stellick with your intermission show after the Leafs win 2-1 over the Montreal Canadiens. That is the first one for the preseason for the Leafs. They are 1-2 after 2 losses against the Sens. They're going to play the Montreal Canadiens again on Saturday night at the Bell Center, and then they've got 2 more games against the Detroit Red Wings before they open up the season on October 9th. It's going to be good to have real hockey. And not that this isn't real, but, tonight, if you looked at the lineups, Leafs had big, heavy guns in, and Montreal had a bunch of younger tryout kind of experience. It'll be good to see all the big boys back out there.
Yeah, it's not our marketing jingle. It's not real, but you're right about it. It's just, and more, and I talk to a lot of scouts, just that they're finding it hard to scout these games because you've got an A level, A team playing the C team on another side. It'll. The last couple of exhibition games will be a little bit more real as you hone in and get ready for the regular season. Now, the thing is, since this is exhibition, and you did this last year, I've did this a number of years before, and that is this whole waiting for the coach post-game. And COVID changed that because we did it so many years, whether it's Mike Babcock, Sheldon Keefe.
They'd come right away.
Right away. The coach hit the podium before any player spoke, and then COVID, changed everything. And now it's, so whatever. I don't know if they're having a beer in there.
Yeah,
or
what do you think they're doing in there? They're probably looking at the iPad and, reading the stats. And actually, when Craig Berube did come out on Sunday, he knew it was funny. He knew exactly how many shots they had in the first period, the second period, and the third period. And he made sure to state that in his answers. And I thought, maybe he went and looked at the stats because he's like, we had 16 shots in the third. Yeah. I'm like, I didn't even know how many shots you had. So maybe they're just studying up for the hard-hitting questions.
Well, and the other is, you don't want to get that if you're upset. Now, you're not going to be upset after an exhibition game, but you stall. It could save you $225,000 or $250,000.
I want the real deal, Gord.
Yeah, the bleep, 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 and say something to get you in big trouble.
What's the best, can you remember one of some coach coming off? I mean, Babs is someone I think of probably being steamy right afterwards, but the authentic post-game monologue from and after a Leafs win or loss, I guess.
Well, John Tortorella's just had them, throughout, and it's not official related all the time. He just brings up different things, and I could go old stories where you got away with murder as a coach. I mean, criticizing the officials was part of it, and coaches, whether you think of Don Cherry and that, the color they love the media, they embrace the media. I mean, that's the way they got notoriety and that, and they'd come up with some great stories, great comments. It was a big part of it, and then. And quite often after the game, the media was right in your face a second later. The players.
Steamy.
Yeah, the players had a bit of time before you could actually go in the dressing room. And now with the podium, it's changed it as well, because back then you got the coach, kind of pinned up against the wall or, whatever it may be.
And you ask them a dumb question and they might just tee off.
Yeah, yeah. And so I do like, and they just had Marty St. Louis there, and there's another one. I like that he doesn't always speak in sound bites. That he seems to be he's quickly become a senior coach now.
Yeah,
he's one of the most longest serving coaches with his current team, and he only was hired yesterday. But about what they're trying to do in Montreal, and you think about the coaching. Mike Babcock was the wrong guy for that here as it played out, and I'm not throwing darts after he's gone. But there's no question about it, because John Cooper was the right guy with the Tampa Bay Lightning, for example, and hopefully Craig Berube is not taking these guys from the ground up like Marty St. Louis is, but to get to that next level, is he the right guy?
I thought it was great to see Matt Sundin around the team the last couple of days. I think he was at the practice yesterday, and then of course at the game tonight, he was up in the broadcast booth with our boys Jim and Joe, and so. Obviously, he's got such a storied career at the Maple Leafs. He means a lot to this organization. And I wonder, if Matts wants to be around more, and he definitely shut that down immediately when asked. He was just here as an invite to come and check it out. But what's the presence of a Matt Sundin mean to Easton Cowan in the locker room today when he sees that Matt Sundin comes in and says, "Hey guys, go out there and have a great game." A kid that's from an area nearby to see Matt Sundin, that's got to be a highlight for his life.
Well, individually it could be mixed. I would think it'd be hugely positive, but as far as the culture of the team goes, really important. And the Montreal Canadiens were the original 6 team that were the best at this, and everyone's catching up just about that kind of mystique. It matters. You go in and so of course you didn't see him play, or maybe you were in diapers when you saw him play, but I just think those things are one of those. It's like that credit card commercial, priceless. You can't put a price on it. And Matt Sundin, do you remember his line always, "As I said"? He'd always do that.
Yep.
As I said. He has the great post-game, being a stand-up guy. And Ailish, because of that whole no-trade thing, that he wouldn't waive his no-trade, and he got kind of unfairly vilified, maybe a bit strong. But, Mitch Marner and others, you're not alone. Stuff has happened in the past, and it was a bit of an uneven exit for him. He wasn't too thrilled for a bit. And that's come back full circle. He's gone back, embraced, this is his team. And, whether I don't, and I like the fact he doesn't want to take a false role either, to want to be something I want to sink my teeth into. But even if he's just around and welcome to be around, like Borja Salming was, God rest his soul, that's a real positive. And to me, that's huge.
No, I totally agree. And I wonder specifically with this year being an important one for Austin Matthews. He's getting the captaincy and he's getting it from someone who's still on the team. I wonder how tricky that can be at times to be having to, okay, this is my room now, but you're still here, like you as in John Tavares, and I've taken on this role where maybe I'm more vocal than I was before. I'm still the best player on the team, nothing changed there, but I'm the guy performing the acts of being the captain. Maybe even having like Matt's around here and there over this stretch of time to just like bounce stuff off and be like, hey, I'm wearing a C. I wonder if this is a nice time to have another former leader to be in the mix to say, this is what it's like being captain.
Yeah, who else could you talk to? And I understand they're different eras, but it's the same type of pressure, different times. And I agree, because who else is Austin Matthews going to talk about the trials and tribulations of being the pressures of being the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs? I like that Austin's really evolved, that he's very comfortable in Toronto as well. Toronto isn't for everybody. And he's, that's the sense I've got. I've got that Willie Nylander's got that too. I think Morgan Riley's always had it. I know Mitch Marner really wants to be here. I just at times don't find it comfortable. I may be being picky. It's not a negative. But and John Tavares, I don't know what you want to call it comfortable, but he always was serious. And I respect his seriousness. That's the way he plays. But I think what Austin can bring probably is a welcome voice, because John Tavares was starting to sound like Dion Phaneuf.
Yeah.
Just that, and it's no slight against Dion, but just kind of droned on after every game. They weren't very good teams back then. And, and Dion's a real stand-up guy. I really like him. But, you were seeing a little bit of that. I think it's kind of time they can all be voices in the dressing room, and they're the only ones that know who the leaders are and how much it impacts them or not. But I think as far as a public thing right now, the world is ready for Austin Matthews, and Austin Matthews is ready for the world.
I think it's interesting you say about like John Tavares is starting to sound like, Dion Phaneuf, for example. I wonder if it's years and years of the same type of performance. Like, we haven't got past this round. We haven't done enough. And then you just begin like robotically saying and acting in the same way. Whereas, Austin Matthews comes in, he's got a different voice. I mean, they still haven't, nothing else has changed. But do you think it's like the media market, the performance, or maybe a mix of both that made it kind of just need to be a change and a different voice?
Yeah, well, and of course, you had the same old. Like Dion Phaneuf was captain of a team that didn't win in the regular season, and John Tavares is captain of a team that disappoints in the playoffs. So, you kind of get tired hearing about it. I'll tell you that, that up close and personal show, I forget what it's called. They're going to, we mentioned Willie Nylander, David Pastrnak, the first episode. There is a great real life tirade by Connor McDavid in the Edmonton Oilers dressing room. It was game 2 in the final, and the trainer tries to kind of block it. But he loses his crap, Connor McDavid. Like he and it was very interesting to see about him just yelling at the team that it's not good enough, what they're doing, and how did that impact ultimately in them being down 3-0 and coming back and making it a series for the ages. Yeah,
that's like last year's run for the Edmonton Oilers. I know this isn't Edmonton Oilers talk, but was something really interesting. I'm looking forward to watch when all these Amazon series come out, and I think it's next week actually. The one with Willie and David Pastrnak will be interesting. I'm sure it'll be fun to go back for some to watch that episode, and obviously we'll see where Willie's at. We'll just wrap up here tonight because it doesn't look like we're getting Craig Berube, even though I wanted to hear him talk after a win.
The pressure's got to him?
The pressure got to him. He's sweating back there. But the Leafs win 2-1 tonight. In terms of injury reports, we don't have anything new from the William Nylander front, but he did get a little banged up there in the first period. Looked like it could be head, neck, but we're not going to assume. But he did go right off the ice. Didn't even stop at the bench. So we'll find out more about William Nylander the next couple of days. And then we did hear just a little bit about Tavares there post-game that they held him out of the third period because of a leg injury. So hoping that the 2 of the core 4 are all healed up by the next time they're out on the ice. And of course, we didn't see Austin Matthews in the lineup tonight. So you know what? Let's hope that like tomorrow's Friday, everyone's feeling better and not banged up. Feel good?
Yeah, well, you and I are feeling good. Well, let's hope they feel like we do. And, just great on, hey, Nick Robertson, Easton Cowan, positive games for them. A win, that's a positive for the Maple Leafs.
Win's a win.
And one less exhibition games. That's a positive game for
That's a positive for us.
Everybody. And working with you.
Oh, thanks, Gord.
Yeah. I maybe get a chance down the road, but
I think
a real
you will.
pleasure. And that's
so
a positive as well.
Yeah, our next broadcast on Sportsnet 590 Fans is going to be Thursday, October 3rd. It will be Justin and I. That'll be against the Flyers. And then before we sign off, we'll let you know Leafs Talk with J.D. Bunkus and Sam McKee will be back for the regular season on October 9th. So you only have to wait a little bit longer for those guys. But yeah, Gord, it's been a blast. We'll hear you lots on this station, I'm sure. So
sounds good.
All right, everybody, enjoy your night. Thanks for listening to Most Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
You're on Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
Showing up around town because he lives in the city I live in, and that's Bud Selig. Bud Selig is treated like a legend because in Milwaukee, he did keep a team here. He brought a team here and he kept a team here. So in Milwaukee, everybody, appreciates Bud Selig. But Bud Selig was not that great of an owner, in my opinion. I don't think he was a good commissioner. And under whose watch did the Oakland A's get sold to John Fisher? Bud Selig. Joe Lacob, Warriors owner, you saw what he did with them. He wanted to buy the team. Reggie Jackson wanted to buy the team. There were other people that wanted to buy the team and keep them in Oakland and improve in Oakland, but somehow he gives it to John Fisher and another guy that had owned it at the time that was like buddies, and then he was buddies with the Giants owner, and they wanted to take him out. They did this was all something that didn't need to happen, and it started with Bud Selig. It started with Bud Selig, the former commissioner, so I think he gets some blame. It starts with all the other owners for allowing this to happen. There was a tweet I loved from Buster Olney earlier tonight, ESPN. What remains a total mystery is why the other owners in baseball stand by as the A's debacle plays out, and they don't do anything. And the situation will continue to be an embarrassment for them all as the team moves to a minor league park. It is mind-boggling. There was a unanimous vote where all these other owners voted to approve the sale or approve the move of Oakland to temporarily Sacramento and then maybe to Las Vegas. No other owners were able to step up. There's been reports that there's been some groundswell of something that was maybe going to happen until Rob Manfred was able to strong arm them out of it. Rob Manfred absolutely at blame. But none of the other owners stood up. You know why? You know why? Because none of the other owners want it to be done to them if they want to move their team. What John Fisher did was he got a piece of property and then tore it down over 20 years. And I think what other owners are looking at is, John, interesting what you did. Based on how you did it, I'm writing this down. I might be able to do it in 10. I might be able to do it in 5. When I say a systematic erosion, there were no resources put in. They constantly were doing things that were at the hindrance of them competing. John Fisher wanted it to get to a point where the fans began to back away from the club. He wanted this relationship to be abusive enough where you broke up with him. Because then when he was announced he was moving, we could look and say, oh, well, Oakland, they don't deserve a team. And so here's another one on the list. Bud Selig's to blame. Rob Manfred's to blame. John Fisher's to blame. Guess who else is to blame? All the other owners are to blame. Guess who else is to blame? Us. Us. We're to blame. We're to blame. Because when this happened, we're not paying attention like this. It's the MLB. We know what's going on with our team, maybe a rival team, and that's about it. It's not like football where we know everything about everybody on every team. In the NFL, we can name all 32 coaches. In the NFL, we can tell you the names of all the stadiums. In the NFL, we can go too deep on all the depth charts. We can do that in the NFL. In Major League Baseball, we know our team, maybe another team. We don't know what's going on with the Oakland A's. What we see is the fans stop coming. What we see is the stadiums be very empty. What we see is a team that's no good. And when it gets transmitted into our brains, we think, oh, geez, the fans there are no good. The fans don't support their team. Well, don't you think after supporting their team, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, all these great A's teams, all these great memories, Don't you think something has to happen for people to just stop showing up? Something has to happen for people to say, this is no longer for me. And that's, again, the systematic teardown that John Fisher and his cronies were a part of, where everybody, former commissioner, current owners, and fans let it happen. I know several people. Milwaukee. We have a fan base. I've got into it with Brewers fans that think that the A's fans deserve this to happen to them because they gave up on their team. They didn't give up on their team. They gave up on John Fisher, which was John Fisher's goal this entire time. We look at this Oakland team and we say, oh, gosh, the fans are no good. The fans are good. You heard from a lot of them this week. The family memories, the ties, the different things where they were going to games growing up and everything that they remember, and it's passed down. And that's all being taken away. It doesn't help that it's in Oakland, which for some reason has become one of these cities where they get picked on by people that have never been there. Detroit's won. I think Milwaukee's won. Chicago's won. There are cities in this country where many of you have never been. And then if I bring it up, you'll say, oh, Oakland sucks. Does it? Why do you say that? Why does it suck? Why have you been there? Oh, their fans are terrible. Are they? Have you ever gone to a game there? Have you ever done anything there? Have you ever talked to anyone that's a fan there? I mean, Oracle, where the Warriors used to play, is in the same parking lot as this Coliseum. The fans didn't suck then. So Oakland fans suck if they're A's fans, but they don't suck if they're Warriors fans. And also, poor Oakland, the Warriors moved across the bay. The Raiders left. And now the A's are following suit. And also, another reason where fans should get more to blame is the take that, oh, baseball fans should love this because now they're moving to Las Vegas and we can go to Las Vegas and take in a game. You're already going to Las Vegas. You've been going to Las Vegas for 50 years. You're not going there because of sports. Now, you might go there and see a football game now, but that's just a vessel for you because you want to go there and gamble and get drunk all night. Okay, any sport you might have gone to is like a UFC or a boxing. Now that they have football, that might be a part of your trip. You're not planning. You want to go to Vegas. You're looking for an excuse. Hey, my baseball team, I'm going to spend 3 days in Vegas. You're not going there that's a vessel. So fans that are excited that this franchise may be in Vegas someday, fans that blame the A's fans for not showing up after they were beaten down for 20 years, John Fisher, Bud Selig, Rob Manfred, all the other owners. That's how it got to this point. That's why the A's are moving. And now they're moving to a minor league ballpark in Sacramento, which, honestly, shame on Sacramento. You know, they almost lost the Kings not too long ago. They know what it's like to poach another team. Shame on everybody involved, really. It's a terrible situation, and it, again, is a horrible reminder. It's a horrible reminder that our favorite team belongs to someone, and it's not us. Our favorite team is a piece of property. Our favorite team is part of a portfolio. You grow up, you start to learn about a team. You maybe watch some games with your dad. You know, the family's over. You go to a game. You buy a jersey. You go to school. There's other kids wearing the same. You bond over that. We think that these teams belong to us, that we have some ownership over them, and we should. But you learn pretty quickly as you grow up that there's somebody that's got that nice suite corner of the stadium where if he wanted to just pack up and move, he's got every right to just pack up and move. And the only thing stopping him is the other owners to vote against it. And guess what? They never do. Because someday they might want to do it themselves. It is a terrible situation. And while John Fisher is to blame, there are so many more people that have let this happen. And speaking out about this tonight in this season, good for me. Wow, I'm such a hero. I should have been doing it 10 years ago. I should have been doing it 15 years ago. I don't think it would have stopped him, but it's too late. It's too late, and now the Oakland A's are no longer. And it sucks. This part of sports absolutely sucks. And I don't think it needs to be this way, but we continue to let it. 855-212-4227, 855-212-4227. This is a very joyful Bart Winkler show.
Safe.
Mondays on City TV.
My heart is racing.
Life moves forward.
It's a scene I've seen so many times.
Love finds a way.
And this time, it's me.
It's Jones time.
I am greeting the next love of my life.
For another chance at love.
I'm not scared anymore. I'm ready for the journey to begin.
The Golden Bachelorette. All new. Mondays 8/7 Central on City TV or stream it on City TV Plus.
Look, I'll drive you guys home, but you need to chill. Everyone buckle up and stop messing around. I didn't sign up as DD just to end up in a ditch.
Even sober, young drivers are 9 times more likely to crash. Speak your mind. ChangeTheConversation.ca.
Congratulations on winning the Chicago pitch. I have taxi chits here to get everyone home safely. Let's not have this win end in a loss.
Convicted drunk drivers will be stopped at the U.S. border. Change the Conversation. Sponsored by the Brewers Association of Canada.
It's your business. You built it yourself.
You've been listening to NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM. Head over to SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, for the best hockey talk.
Him, and I represented Tuukka Rask too, and so we were out there in the center of the ice, and it was a surreal moment in Vancouver. And then they said, "Okay, well, see ya." I said, "See ya," and I walked off the ice, and I realized, I'm not part of that. And fast forward, you dream of being, you yearn to be part of it, and you dream of it, and in the moment, it was certainly something very, very difficult to describe. But then we were at work the next morning because of the time frame. So it was quick fast forward to, the realities that we're facing moving forward. And I think even that morning we started moving towards free agency, getting contracts done, draft prep, and what have you.
So, look, we've talked so much, Bill, with you over the years about your particular market and whether it's the Heat, the Marlins, or the Dolphins. If you win, they will come. So I just wonder now that the dust is kind of settled and you're looking forward to defending your championship, I just wonder what you feel your place in the market is down there in terms of the fans and how they've bought in and how the building's kind of sold out game in and game out now, and just what you built over the last couple of years with the runs that you've had.
Well, I believe this. I believe this is a hockey market. I see the kids playing hockey. I see the interest in the game. It probably started, it was noticeable for me 2 seasons ago that the oohs and the ahs, you're in Toronto and a guy makes a hell of a play or sends someone home with a cross-ice pass, and the ooh, right, because you have generations of hockey understanding. You started to hear the right timing of the oohs and ahs here. And as it's evolved, the presence in the community, it's been outstanding. Guys are getting recognized more and more. Fans are more into the hockey. The questions go from, you're that's the GM of the Panthers. Oh, I went to a game. That's lots of fun. To, well, what are you going to do about the D? Mm-hmm. So the fans now, it's just the way the fans interact. And I think that our parade is, if you had to look at an essay to define the relationship between our fans and our community and the players, we had a couple 100,000 people stand in a torrential downpour for hours.
Get the latest news, opinion, and analysis from MMA to boxing and the professional wrestling world 24/7. SiriusXM Fight Nation, SiriusXM 156, and the SXM app.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule. The Florida Panthers are your 2024 Stanley Cup champions, and that means the NHL offseason is officially underway. The Panthers stymied a monumental comeback from the Edmonton Oilers, who got all the way to Game 7 after falling behind in the series 3-0. Florida held on in the deciding game, beating Edmonton 2-1 and winning their first and only championship in the organization's 30-year history. If they had pulled it off, the Oilers would have joined the 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs as the only team to erase a 3-0 deficit in the final round of the playoffs and hoist the Stanley Cup. Florida's Alexander Barkov becomes the first Finnish captain to win the Stanley Cup. The Selke Award winner for top defensive forward blanketed McDavid in the finals and recorded 22 points in 24 postseason games. In his second season with Florida, head coach Paul Maurice won the Cup for the first time in his career, which began in 1995. Panthers netminder Sergei Bobrovsky recorded all 16 postseason victories for Florida, sporting a .232 goals against average and a .906 save percentage, along with 2 shutouts. Despite not registering a point in the last 2 games of the final, Connor McDavid was awarded the Conn Smythe Trophy. He received 16 of 17th first-place votes to become the 6th player on a losing team to win it, and the first skater to do so since Reggie Leach with the Philadelphia Flyers in 1976. McDavid finished the playoffs with 8 goals, 34 assists for 42 points in 25 games. Only Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux had more than one postseason. The Oilers last made the final in 2006, where they lost to the Carolina Hurricanes, and their most recent championship was in 1990. They fell